We'll be starting soon. As you can see, in the meantime, enjoy this.
6 out of 8, right?
This is 6 out of 8.
6 out of 8. Who would have thunk we would have got this far?
Oh, did we really pass?
We beat it. It was we barely beat it.
I thought we squeaked by.
You weren't there.
You weren't there.
I wasn't.
No, that
Yeah.
was.
Well, tell me what happened in 5 then, because I guess I did.
I don't think we actually.
It was Yig.
Oh, well.
We survived.
Okay.
Our score was like.
I guess I should have watched the.
Oh no, we didn't. We got like 14.
I think we were like 1 or 2 below.
So what happened in the game?
We just read something.
Oh, was this
It
the
was-
totem one? That was the totems.
No, it was a snake one.
Yeah, but there was the totems.
Oh yeah, totems everywhere.
So you got poisoned as we went, occasionally.
Okay.
Like whenever we were getting close to something, we kind of got poisoned.
Yeah, that's
You could
why.
either ignore the poison, and, like power through, or let it sit back a bit.
Okay.
So there's that difficulty, and then like just at the beginning, we were having.
Wait, was Gerardo? No.
Is Gerardo coming?
Oh no. Gerardo has
I
his
assume
friend.
Gerardo was there for the last one.
But we found out
Yeah, he was.
D1 is not D1.
It was 12. We got 12 points, so it let us continue. So technically, we didn't win, but like you can still continue. They just like
But D1
had some forward saying that
That's
how
the-
awful we were.
Well, so,
It's D something.
but it ain't D1.
It ain't D1.
No.
Yeah,
I
there's
was
some.
confused as
Because we went to, but then the poison didn't actually have anything.
All right,
well.
this. Yeah,
Because it was like, oh, there's a circus in town, and the circus is at this square, and so the circus. snakes
it
are
was
the
at
ones that were
Independence
dead.
Square, so I just went to Independence Square,
Yeah.
which was really a sane asylum.
Yeah.
So this is called the Star of Tokelau. Tokelau.
Mm-hmm.
In Investigation 6, the Star of Tokelau, players will use requirements which were introduced in Investigation 2, review the rules, blah, blah, blah. No, it looks like we won't get poisoned. Oh, this is going to be... Alright, Armitage tells you, finally a theft of valuable gem along with suspicious murders. This is a case for the classic sleuth to solve, and I believe this should be a rather straightforward investigation. Let's be done with this case day 7 morning.
So straightforward.
There's just a lot to uncover. All right. This Arkham, January 16th, if somebody wants to newspaper it up.
Thank you. January 16th? Which year?
1930.
Oh,
What a good
the crash
year.
then.
Yeah, the crash happened.
Crash did happen.
I think we're like right before the crash, right during the
January. Well, I thought it was
I thought they
1929
crashed
was
in
the.
1929.
Yeah, like the last episode.
Yeah, so October 21st, 1929, Wall Street stocks a bargain after crisis.
Yeah, the last one was October 21st, 1929.
And then after that, this goes to then it's a 7-year gap. At that point, next one's 37, the one after that is 40. So we're going to have some time off after this one, basically.
I wonder what happens to kids and you grow old.
Yeah.
And
We're a bunch of lively young adults, but then after that, it's just something happens to us and we don't.
Or we teleport into the future, time travel.
Oh, fuck.
I hope that's what it is.
I mean, it's called the Star of Tokelau. Maybe Tokelau is...
Time travel? I don't know enough about Cthulhu.
I mean, we could go to the space in between and then come back in a different time.
August.
Yeah, because time moves differently in space.
Or just like a place that isn't anything.
June,
Like a black hole?
August.
No, black holes are destructive.
They are destructive.
The
Well,
space
you can't,
between
you
time
can't get out of a black hole.
Place between time and space, I think that's what the Cthulhu world
Yeah, it's a
calls it.
Cthulhu thing. It's just like dark space.
You're in the void. So.
You know, the place between the strands of matter.
Okay.
Alright. There is fog in the morning air and chill that makes you pull your coat a little tighter as you make your way to Armitage's room at the
It's
university.
January.
I'm glad you've arrived so quickly, he exclaims as he ushers you inside. While you remove your hat and coat, the old librarian pulls down a decrepit-looking tome from his heaving shelves. Got 2 puzzles for you today. I assume you've had time to peruse the morning edition of the advertiser I sent you? ... Question mark.
No.
We're doing it, right?
I'm gonna assume it's either the dead policeman or the chauffeur that escapes. Oh wait, never mind. It's the cursed diamonds.
Good! Good, because that makes 3 suspicious disappearances this week alone. I simply cannot see how 3 elderly residents of our town can up and vanish overnight. All 3 are retirees, without families or close associates to miss them. Perfect victims. I also cannot imagine that the timing of their disappearance is a mere coincidence with the gala event taking place at the museum this week. The Star of Tokelau troubles me immensely. Even without the nonsense about the curse, there remains something odd about its history. I was talking with Inspector Garrison yesterday about the security, and he mentioned his constables having to chase a group of ne'er-do-wells away from the museum's service entrance. Pausing to fill his pipe, the old librarian flips open the dusty tome to a page with the heading Ritual Magics, and that's Magics Magicks, in a spidery scrawl. Glancing at the unearthly symbols on the page, it makes you feel extremely nauseous, and you quickly avert your gaze. This is a translation from the 12th century Latin original. Its title roughly translates as Things of the Water, and it describes ritual sacrifices to monsters that live in the deep in return for baubles, such as this diamond. I don't believe the stories of a curse for 1 minute, but no smoke without fire, so to speak. I need you to look into these disappearances. Hopefully they are mundane, but one can never be too careful. Secondly, I see what you can find out about this gem. Make sure there is nothing to the rumors, and identify the men lurking around the stone. It would be foolhardy to assume that a gem of that value wouldn't attract the wrong kind of attention from certain quarters, supernatural or criminal. And there is no answer at his home. There's no answer at his home. What?
That sounds like a line skip.
Nope, it ends at supernatural or criminal. It's kind of weird. So, anyways, we're done.
So the mission is to find out the history of the gym and the men surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's up with these elderly people at
But I thought the mission was to find them.
Everything.
Okay.
The original thing said finally a theft of gem with suspicious murders.
Cool.
So it's everything.
Okay, so we got some relevant.
I'm thinking going to the police garrison guy first.
Yeah. Well, here's the relevant newspaper articles. So first, Cursed Diamond Centerpiece Exhibit. Arkham Museum curator Miss Amanda Bellinger has been quick to dispel rumors surrounding the purported curse attached to the centerpiece of the museum's latest exhibit. The Star of Tokelau was recently bequeathed with a number of items from a state of eccentric Kingsport shipping magnate Berkeley Hollingsworth II. The impressive cut diamond, set in a serpentine golden-hued necklace, has a history of misfortune and notoriety. Keen to capitalize upon the public interest in the Star, Bellinger and her staff have worked tirelessly to create a new exhibit hall devoted to the culture of these South Sea islands. In addition to the Star, several large stone-carven heads, moai, have been loaned to the museum. The gala opening of this exhibit, set for Saturday, January 18th, that's 2 days, will see Arkham's local dignitaries and members of esteemed academia in attendance. And as regards to the deaths and missing folk, War Veterans Missing. Arkham's Veteran Association has appealed to the citizens of Arkham with regard to 2 of its members that it's trying to reconnect with. Both Sergeant John Salter, retired, and Colonel Henry Benoit, retired, served in the 26th Infantry Division during the Great War and the Massachusetts Army National Guard. They have regularly attended events and weekly soup mornings for several years, but have not been seen for over a week. They were last seen together inside of a merchant district business purchasing items for an expedition. Any information welcome at the Miskatonic Valley Veterans Home campus. You said there's some mysterious deaths, too?
I think that's what it is.
Well, there's a policeman that was killed from gas poisoning. And then there's a chauffeur that also escaped from a chemical supply, a chauffeur employed by a chemical supply company, but was arrested for a felonious assault on a woman, escaped from his cell. So those are the two other kind of things. Yeah, besides that, we've got some bootlegging going on, and it's about it.
So they're probably expeditioning to the deep to help on this monster.
I mean, there's some South Sea Island stuff going on. Apparently there's some history involved with that, so crazy. The Veterans, Miskatonic Valley Veterans Home Campus. Yeah, so he was gas poisoning by his wife. Helping the veterans. No, it's not anything. Oh, Professor Armitage has a thing.
It's a Death Star.
Oh, is it?
If he wants to investigate another one.
Professor Armitage put out a letter to the editor in this edition.
Oh.
Dear residents of Arkham, I take it upon myself to build awareness in our little community, announcing to all those in Arkham and elsewhere that there are charlatans and scoundrels nearby who are eager to part you from your money with false promises of wealth and power. To this I say no. I have great faith in our country that this economy will turn around. So please do not allow these charlatans to take your hard-earned money. Yes, I am publicly calling out the fraudster Dr. Brody. You cannot learn to control others using mental projection, but you can only influence this world in a positive manner by spreading goodwill. If anyone has questions on the matter, they can come talk to me directly. Professor Armitage, head librarian at Miskatonic University. Oh, there's an ad for Dr. Brody. That's funny.
Alright, I want to go see Garrison.
Sure. Well,
Because,
it's you're first, right?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, the police station.
Yeah, D32. Because I feel like, since this is like the most legit, like, oh, this is actual like murders and theft, I feel like going to the police and find out what the crime scene say, or in this case, the security.
What is it?
Correct. Is the Arkham Police Station. D32. Inspector Garrison is in his office studying a plan of the University Exhibit Museum. He looks up and smiles warmly at you. Armitage got you out on the streets again. Anything I should know about? Wait, what? Okay.
yeah, he just was talking with Kirsten.
Yeah. Alright. You explained that you are looking into the disappearances suggested by the paper, and he shrugs. I think the professor must be bored. No one's reported them missing, and the morgue is empty for now, so there's not much I can do. He gestures at the plan. Besides, I've got my hands full policing this blasted gala event. It's making a serious dent in my manpower. I won't lie to you. If that's not enough... manpower, I won't lie to you. If that's not enough, I got this dang treasury agent, Weedham, sniffing around and getting himself into mischief. His normally professional solemnity words suddenly cracks into a huge grin. Mickey Tull did have to take on a couple of tough downs at the dock. Take a couple of toughs down at the dock. He accused them of bootlegging as they stepped off their rowboat, and they weren't happy. They got a few licks in before Mickey managed to clap the bracelets on them. No evidence they've done anything wrong, mind you, apart from giving a federal man a going over. I might be able to hold them for a couple of days, but if Weedham doesn't find anything incriminating, I'll have to turn them loose. He'll not find much evidence of bootlegging down at the chemical plant anyhow. You ask about the group the police had to chase away from the museum, but it seems Armitage has got the wrong end of the stick. The youths they had to chase away were just hoping to catch a glimpse of the new and by all accounts very attractive museum secretary. If you have requirement card 1, proceed to requirement section on page 122 and read entry 1. So, that was a waste. Screw you, Armitage.
Oh, there's some bootlegging stuff in here too, yeah. Okay, so I would like to go to the Miskatonic Valley Veteran Home. Is that a thing? Okay, cool. Thank you.
Where is that on the map?
That's a good question. We got some C's. That's campus, right?
Yep.
C1. Right next to the graveyard. Wow, that's a little vicious. Okay, cool. So, C1? Okay, yeah, sure. Campus district. Making your way through the fog, you arrive at the 3-story brick structure that houses some of the worst of the casualties of the Great War. You gingerly enter the building and speak to the nurse manning the reception, who asks you to wait. After several minutes, a matronly woman with a stern expression arrives to receive you. This is most improper. The patients here do not need any additional stress brought by unannounced visitors. You apologize and explain that you are looking for the missing veterans. Her fierce countenance does not alter, although she barks, "Well, come this way if you must, and don't upset the residents." You are led down a hallway into a small office by a woman, whose name tag identifies her as Senior Nurse Gertrude Putnam. The room seems to be part office, part storage, with shelves heaving under the weight of paper records. So you think you can help us track down Sergeant Salter and Colonel Benoit? I assume you saw the advertisements that the Veterans Association placed in the advertiser. You nod, not wanting to make this woman any less cooperative than she already is. She pulls out a small cardboard folder. You have to understand these old military men are all about the routine. The colonel comes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for games of bridge and backgammon in the common room. He hasn't missed more than a day for nearly 4 years now. He says he's giving back to those who lost it all, as he was one of the lucky ones. You haven't seen him for over a week, and there's no answer at his home. Sergeant Salter is another man here that is as regular as clockwork. He comes each morning with the newspapers for our patients and any gossip he has managed to pick up at the Massachusetts Guard Armory. Both men live here in Arkham, the colonel in uptown and the sergeant in downtown, and I know they go to a regular soup morning at a cafe near the rail station to discuss fundraising for the home. Now, if there's nothing else, some of us have work to do.
Wait, where was it?
A regular soup morning at a cafe near the rail station.
And where does one of them go?
He picks up gossip from the Massachusetts Guard Armory. That would be Sergeant Salter.
Is it rail station?
The rail station was F, I thought.
So far, we have not encountered any errata stuff.
That's good.
You're looking for a cemetery?
The rail station.
Rail
Yeah.
station.
Then nope.
Transportation. The train station is N38.
Him?
N38 is the train station. And then
So cafes that are in.
there's Edens, which is N33. And there's the Grafton Diner, which is N37.
It's not on the street. N36? There's not N37.
Well, it might have teleported across the map since it's not.
And there's 39. It says N37.
Well, there is no.
And then there's N29,
N29.
which is
That's
the Desolate
39.
Highway Cafe.
There's N29, but it's not next to us. And this is
So wait, what was that last one?
And
No, what was the name of it?
The Grafton Diner.
So that was N37. Yeah. There's a 27, and there's a 27. There's two 27s on this map.
well, there you go.
Wait, two N27s?
There's
Yeah.
two N27s.
N or M?
N.
Is it
N as
yeah.
in, what's military? Navajo, right?
Beta?
No. Is it Navajo?
Nancy.
Nancy.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if the directory says it, we're good. We can go there. There's
They're
nothing.
all right next to it.
Yeah.
It's just like the other one.
There's 3.
Well, I'm going to say this one is actually on the Bloody Road, though.
Well, which is the station?
And
And what did she say specifically?
I know they go to a regular soup morning at a cafe near the rail station.
yeah.
Cafe. The only one that's a cafe is the Desolate Highway Cafe.
Oh, really? And that's which one?
N29.
Okay, so that sounds pretty cool. Well, it's your
The other
decision.
ones are diners.
So,
Well,
shut through that.
So you're going N29?
I mean,
An advertisement they put.
No, is that where you're going?
yeah, that's where
Okay.
I'm going.
What's
No,
it called?
I just N29. Desolate Cafe.
There's no Adams.
I just want to actually write it down.
Nothing.
Have you already written that much down?
What is it?
There's
No,
nothing.
I was just wondering. Have you
What?
really filled up a page already?
There's not even.
There's not even an entry.
No, that's good. I just was like, wow.
At
Maybe I
N29.
should go to the other one.
At N33? Well, that was Aunt Rose's, right?
On Edith.
Okay.
N33.
Cool.
On Edith's Cafe is a modern, leading establishment that has a counter service rather than usual waitress taking orders at the tables. In fact, the whole establishment is geared towards the customer on the go, and the menu seems to consist of hearty meals served in large portions of crisp white broccoli. If you have arrived at the location during the morning of day 3,
We're not.
proceed to blah 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 blah. Otherwise, we can. Okay. The cafe is moderately busy, and you sit down at the curb counter and enjoy steaming coffee. Many of the patrons seem to be rail commuters pausing to take a meal before their journey. You're able to chat briefly with the server and ask if he knows anything about the missing residents. I'm not sure if they come to our soup morning, to be honest, but we get extra volunteer staff helping us out on those days, so they might know more. We hold them on Saturday mornings. If you'd like to come along, they're open to everyone, not just the old.
So,
All right. Where are you going?
Museum.
What is that?
I don't know.
I guess we can. You can put the bookmark at the front of the chapter, just so we can close it.
I thought the museum was like C15. Because that's the bell tower. I thought the museum was next
There's
to
a
it.
little art.
Is there more than one museum?
There's just
It
the
was the
Miskatonic.
university. But it's, I think it's under something not under
There's only C's there, so.
the school. I think it's under
Probably under there.
local lifestyle. Local culture.
Arkham
University Exhibit Museum?
I mean, that's the only one that's
Is that-
Arkham, right?
is where we're going?
Is this the University of Arkham or is this the Miskatonic?
Yeah,
It doesn't. I
it's
mean, the
university.
museum that they're
So what
holding
does it
at.
see? What?
C24.
Yeah, this
Okay.
sounds right. There's only one museum in town.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's pretty well.
Sure.
It
Stretch
goes on
out.
the second page. Okay. You walk along West College Street. The fog still suffocated. This fog.
It's a foggy
means
week.
something, you know.
Cthulhu.
It's
It's
like- yeah.
Cthulhu. He's
Cthulhu
coming out of the
doesn't
river.
fog.
He's coming out of the river.
They've said fog like 5 times.
Well, I mean, the fog is because it's in New England. It's in Massachusetts.
It's an
Cthulhu.
indicator or something.
It's Cthulhu.
There's gonna be a question that's like, what kind of weather is there? It would be like fog.
Then we'll know it.
You walk along West College Street, the fog still suffocating the town. You hear the muffled chime of the Copley Memorial Bell Tower as you push through the doors of the University Exhibit Museum. The policeman moves to check your arrival, but it is one of Garrison's men. When he recognizes you, he nods cordially and returns to his guard position. If you have arrived at this location on the evening of day 3, please proceed to supplemental time or at any other time. The museum is quiet and still. Like the fogged world outside its walls, though a slight odor of rancid seaweed has found its way inside. You are not sure whether you will be welcome, so you cautiously pick your way between cases containing dead-eyed animals as you make your way through to the museum hall. Through the gloom, the drapes are pulled over the windows and hardly any of the electric bulbs are lit. You can make out 3 enormous moai heads. You carefully step over a heavy rope barrier and, hearing the floorboard creak, you dart into a darkened alcove and watch. A woman, blonde, tall, immaculately dressed, is in the room ahead of you. Something about her furtive movements leads you to continue watching from the shadows as she moves to a display case. She casts about, making sure she is alone, then quickly reaches inside one of the cabinets and places a small object from it into her bag. call from further into the exhibit hall causes her to freeze. Miss Bellinger, are you in here? Snapping the case closed, she straightens up, checks her tires in place, and wheels away from the case. Robbins, is that you? She marches aggressively out of sight, her heels clicking like gunshots. Her voice carries from the far end of the exhibit hall. I don't care what Ingram says. I'm telling you the details of the curse stay on the display. I don't care if the library has lost the book. Make something up. Now go and put it back. You hear the staccato heels move off down the corridor. Keen into the shadows, you make your way past tall cabinets containing treasures and artifacts from the Pacific. The case the Bellinger had stopped at seems to contain small, intricately carved statues of grotesque marine beasts. It looks as though the remaining statues have been quickly repositioned so it is impossible to spot if any are missing. You hear rustling and spot the man, Robbins, reattaching an information plate to the plinth of a large, freestanding display case. He finishes what he is doing and raises the dust sheet. You cannot get a good view of the contents of the case, but you watch in fascination as he goes very still and places his hand on the glass of the case. His tongue slides across his lips. He is lost for a moment in his own thoughts. Then he drops the cover back in place and walks away, leaving the hall. Quietly, you creep over to the case and raise the dust sheet. Inside, squatting on a velvet cushion, lies the Star of Tokelau. It is a huge, cut diamond, noted for its bluish hue, the size and shape of a bird's egg. Even unlit in the dark, it literally makes you gasp at its unearthly splendor, seeming to glow with a light of its own. The star is clasped at the base of a large necklace into which are set many other tiny gems. The serpentine necklace seems to be predominantly gold, though the light color hints at some strange and beautiful alloy. You carefully return the cover and begin to read the newly affixed plate. Star of Tokelau, the oval cut diamond weighing 206.2 carats, the reverse engraved with an unknown script dated circa 1200 AD. Each side drilled for press. Bequeathed from the estate of the late Berkeley Hollingsworth II, originally thought to have formed part of a pirate hoard recovered by Massachusetts sailors in the mid-1800s and considered cursed. The star is purported to lay a curse on its owner. ... A firm hand on your shoulder startles you, and you wheel around and be confronted with a hulking, hairy man reeking of seawater. His identification badge names him Mr. McSweeney, assistant curator, and he is furious. This area of the museum is restricted. What do you think you're doing? You apologize and try to concoct a quick excuse, but he doesn't buy it. Trying to take what is not yours? Maybe our lawyers will handle trespassers as well as inheritances. He hauls you to a policeman, and you are forced to undergo the indignity of having to turn out your pockets to prove you have not helped yourself to any of the artifacts. That was a lot.
Wow, the curator snatched stuff from the exhibit. Got the curator, Miss Bellinger, and then the man Robin, and Miss Mr. Seaweed.
Where should we go next?
There's the garter, aren't we? Did you find that?
What about that weed?
Yeah,
Treasury weed?
he was the guy that was in my talking
Yeah.
about.
That's the treasury officer,
Yeah.
right?
Was he?
He was a federal agent, and they got involved with those bootleggers.
Do we care about Pascal
Who knows?
talking to him or our mole? Sebastian.
Yeah, we don't think
We
it's-
actually haven't talked to our mole ever.
And that cult really hasn't been doing much.
Actually, the other one is. Does Weedham have an address?
Yep.
Sure. What address is it?
That's 50.
There's an address.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right there.
The temporary federal agent? No.
I mean, was it FD?
I don't remember what letter.
I just remember Mike Toll.
It was Bellinger.
Yeah.
Bellinger.
That's the curator.
And then they said it was like a dog, so they
I don't know if there's an actual.
I think the
dock.
bootleggers are just bootleggers. They're like, basically, there's a news article that says after a heated fracas 3 days ago at the Arkham docks, federal agents and Arkham police have detained 2 men. They're being held pending charges for suspected bootlegging.
Chemical factory? When you were reading it about the dogs, it was also said something about
Mine?
Yeah, it was in the docs, and like the last sentence was like chemical factory.
I thought mine, when I read the one from the house, said something about a chemical factory.
Abby, was there a chemical factory?
Wasn't that what they were talking about with the chauffeur?
Right, the
There's hand
chauffeur
towels in there.
was Sanderson Chemical
Where?
Supply.
Like by the toilet?
I didn't know what towels were what towels.
Oh yeah. I
Sorry.
mean, small hand towels.
Okay.
There's a chauffeur that was employed by a chemical supply, but I don't know if the chemical factory is mentioned beyond that.
I remember there was something about a chemical factory.
Didn't Inspector Garrison mention the chemical factory?
Okay, well, the
I think that
chauffeur.
might be next to the dogs. Because it sounded like he interchanged that.
Well, where's the Sanderson Chemical Supply?
The docks. There's a location for it.
There's the docks.
M1.
Do we want to
It's M10.
Oh.
N or M?
M.
Do we want to go there?
Like Mary?
Do we think checking out the docks would be?
What was the factory?
Sanderson.
Do you think we
Chemical?
can check out the docks with a requirement card?
Sanderson's chemical.
Yeah, Sanderson Chemical Supply is where the chauffeur is from.
What?
She remember?
When it's my turn. There's only 4 of us,
True.
so I haven't said where I'm going.
Do you think it was on purpose that they couldn't fit afternoon?
Yeah, so the reason why they had those, if
No.
you came on the evening of day 3, is because that's when the deck was happening.
Oh, at the
Gala
docks.
is in.
The,
No,
the
the gala happened.
Gala.
was happening was 2 days later, so that's why it was day
So what were the ones that were pinged based off the gala again?
N33, which was the auntie place.
3. The cafe. That's
Cafe. Yeah, after the morning.
Evening's cafe.
If you came exactly at that time. It was exactly.
During the morning.
Because if you came during morning,
Well, you can go there.
I'm not.
It would be you. You're not going there? Why not?
Well, it's just gonna.
Alright, I guess I'll go to the docks.
If that's what you want.
No, I don't, but
Then don't go. See, we can.
I don't know, like,
I
it's
don't even know if that's the right Weedham.
F50. It's I guarantee they're not going to reuse the same last name.
There's a lot of Smiths.
Well, how many weed hams do you know? Uh-huh. So what is your copious amounts of notes?
I just like to clean up.
No, yeah, I'm asking because you've taken the most notes,
Yeah.
and we're inquiring where we should go next.
Oh, well, I mean, I think
Is
that
the guard
the
arm
docks
open?
are probably a good bet because of the fact that they were doing an expedition, and they have said there was another clue that they have like sea lodge at some point.
Yeah, I don't.
My thing is
Yeah,
just,
because
I feel
the
like the-
guard armory, I think that they might have gone out to sea.
alright, I'll go to the docks, but I'm just afraid that, it's like, you need a requirement card.
Was that
Oh, okay,
exactly
so
what
you
it
think we
was?
should just. I mean,
I don't know where else to go. I'll go to the docks.
I
Is
guess
that
the
N1?
guard armory, or to look up Bellinger, who's acting really suspicious. We could look her up and see where she lives and then go to her house.
I'll just go to the docks.
D44?
M1?
M10, right?
10.
What's in one
Another dog.
then? More docks. Yeah.
Alright, M1, 10.
There's-
Not
there's
1,
armory.
10.
They just mentioned up
One of the
Sultan's-
sergeant gets the gossip from there, so that's the other place that they're also seen besides the kitchen. Is the garden.
M10.
Where were they buying all their expeditions?
They were buying it from a merchant
there. They didn't-
district. They were last seen together inside a merchant district business.
Right, okay, so it did specify.
Jebediah palms you off. Jebediah palms you off on one of his.
Who's Jebediah?
I don't know, but he palms us. I've never heard of palms.
Yeah, you can palm
That
someone off on
sounds
someone.
sexual.
No, you can palm someone off on someone.
You pawn them,
No, you palm them.
and then you
You can palm them off. You're allowed to palm someone off.
Anyways, Jebediah palms you off on one of his
It's legitimately a
administrators.
thing.
Maybe it's old-timey speak.
I'm pretty sure it's pawns.
No, it's also palm.
It's both?
Yeah.
Jebediah palms you off on one of his ministers as he has, quote, another matter to attend to. You are left in the capable hands of an efficient young man called Joseph Batchelder.
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 Okay.
Batchelder. Who offers you every assistance. You begin by asking if he can give you any more information about the estate of Berkeley Hollingsworth II and its dispersal. He eyes you suspiciously. Reluctant to talk, so you opt to bluff. You tell him you represent a branch of the family that may have been overlooked. He seems to accept your story and retrieves the file from a large modern steel cabinet. Ah, here we are then. I can see here it is marked for public scrutiny, so I can take you through it. The Berkeley Hollingsworth estate was divided principally between a number of charitable ends. Batchelder goes on at length about the various sums scattered the length and the breadth of the Miskatonic Valley, with large sums going to the Kingsport Foundation and more to St. Mary's Hospital in Arkham by way of E.W. A small box of letters for M.K. of West Washington Street, Arkham.
M.K. of West Washington Street?
The museum benefited from a number of items of his historic significance, including the Star of Tokelau and D.D. at, that's the two letters, D.D., at the Historical Society, and D.D. at the Historical Society received documentation and historical correspondence for their extensive archives.
So DD got historical documentation.
DD where?
At Historical Society.
I think we probably talked to them for the Dream Quest. I thought we talked to them at the Historical Society for the Dream Quest.
Okay, so that sounds like it.
Yeah, but what was the EK?
Is
Or
it
the
EK?
EW.
Well,
EW.
there's EW and there's an MK.
Okay,
Yeah.
so EW
MK.
got what?
The state hospital got the most amount of money by way of EW.
EW.
With large sums going to Kingsport Foundation and more to St. Mary's Hospital in Arkham by way of EW.
So who's the East Washington Street one? Because we have 5 buildings on
And then
it.
that's M.
It's East Washington Street.
Yes, East Washington. We have U38, U39.
MK, that.
Yeah. So basically U's that are 30s.
And then, like,
That's a lot of names.
Used in the what?
U's that are 30s.
So not that one.
box of letters.
Not those two. Yeah, that's it.
That's it?
What about across the street?
Okay, so U60.
Oh,
Is it-
yeah.
is it
I
East?
have a U60.
Okay,
East
so what
Washington
U60?
or West?
MK for
U66
West
is
Washington.
on there.
It's West Washington.
U66,
So
West Washington.
that's MKZar.
And what did you get?
Box of letters
Box of letters.
for MK of West Washington Street.
Cool.
A small box.
So where do you think this historical society?
Is this historical
Well, do you
society?
think we need to find the person or just look at the historical
Well,
society?
what's the mission? The mission is to find out about the background of the gem and find the dudes.
And the missing, maybe.
They're all connected.
Well, theoretically, as these things get harder, it's supposed to be more crazy
Did you
things
find
for us to-
the Historical Society in there?
That's what I'm looking for. Let's see if we have the historical society.
So
It might.
It's the distribution of the.
It's not there?
It's not under historical society.
So letters
it might
could be useful to understand the total.
Because it might be like Miskatonic.
So it could be the history thing.
I mean, the letters might detail the curse in
It could
more
detail what's
depth.
going on with that. Like, yeah, no, there's some very personal
I mean, I
Yeah.
think I have.
stuff.
I believe the Arkham Historical Society is L1.
So we know that the book is missing from the library, so the library should not be a place we go.
Yeah.
We need to find who took the book,
Wonder what.
but it's probably one of these people. Then we already have a name for it. It's probably.
Probably Bellinger.
You have a lot of names.
Yeah.
You said it was Arc on Historical Society?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you already said it was L1?
Yeah.
I kind of go to the guard army and figure out what we've got.
I'm just trying to find what
Well, I can pass it.
There
Palm
it
this
is,
off on
right.
you. I can palm this off on
You
you.
can palm it on me, yes. So the guard was D44.
Guard armory is D44.
Better not screw me over here.
And
Oh, good. This is okay. Well, whatever. All right. You're surprised at the ease with which you are able to walk into the fenced courtyard in front of the Massachusetts Guard Armory. When you approach a mechanic battling with the oil filter of a large truck, he challenges you about being on private property. On discovering you are searching for information about the missing veterans, however, he becomes much more cooperative. The man introduces himself as Sergeant Pierce and says he knows former Sergeant John Salter well, often spending time with the old man chatting about the state of the military. He would call by pretty much every morning on his way to see the other veterans. Both the sergeant and Colonel Benoit have worked with us here for years organizing charity events for the home over on the campus. You could try asking Mrs. Venus, the big man suggests. She is in charge of the fundraising activities for the veterans, but she didn't often come by. Quite a frail old lady herself. She used to meet with the other fundraisers over lunch once a month. At least that's what John told me. V-E-N-I-S.
Oh, Venus.
Venus. V. V is in Bravo.
Yeah, Venus. I thought it was Venus.
B-E...
Why are you saying V?
Spell that again?
V is in Bravo.
Right.
E-M-I-S.
Okay. All right. I pulled it.
Oh, Venus. Gotcha.
Yes.
F-47.
Cool.
Well, I am going to go to L1.
And what's interesting, I'd like to point out, the ladies' auxiliary of the American Legion of Arkham met last Thursday with Miss Rosa Rabouin presiding in the absence of Miss Venus. That's a newspaper article.
So,
Oh, so is Miss Venus one of the missing?
probably.
soldiers?
The reports showed that food, clothing, rent, coal, and other necessities had been provided for unfortunate veterans and their families. So she may be the third missing old person.
I went L1.
What's it, Ellen?
I don't
the Arkham Society.
History, Arkham Society thing.
This is
Morning.
We're
morning.
hitting day 3 morning.
Unless
They have the
you
gala.
really wanted me to go back to Eden's.
Cafe. Do we want the cafe so Brian can get cafe?
That's his
Yes.
choice.
Yeah. Does he feel the pressure?
I don't think he's feeling that.
Okay.
He feels nothing.
He feels nothing.
Oh,
He
my.
doesn't have a heart.
Why is it a damage?
I assume because it's small.
No,
It's either small or
just
super.
if you have,
We have blah blah blah.
which we never have.
We never have blah blah blah.
Yeah, last time it was like all these requirement cards. We only got one. We didn't even use it.
Anyway, you sigh inwardly as you approach this historical society, thinking of all the times that you have sidestepped Dorothy Davis in her lectures on the age of sail. She'll never let you hear the end of it now. You have finally come to her with a request about the South Seas. You explain to Mrs. Davis that you're looking into the Star of Tokelau and its origins. Why, certainly, you've come to the right place. I've been researching the maritime traditions of the Massachusetts coast, particularly around the Miskatonic Valley, for several years now. She's in her element as she begins to describe the 18th century voyages to the Polynesian Islands. Arkham had several maritime families who journeyed extensively around the globe, as did Kingsport. But these are nothing compared with the shipping families of Innsmouth,
King Cthulhu.
who made a very profitable trade from the South Seas. That lasts until the start of the 19th century, when a number of sea disasters saw the end of all but the Marsh operation. The Marshes were still in business right up until a few years ago when federal agents raided a bootlegging operation and effectively closed the town down. You gently try to steer the conversation back to the Star of Tokelau, but Mrs. Davis assures you that her story is irrelevant. The Star was brought back to Innsmouth on one of Marsh's ships. The captain, Nathaniel Kezar,
You know Kiza?
Kezar, M. Kezar, was Or some of the letters. Tracked almost an entire hold of goods to a fishing tribe on Tokelau Fort. He was obsessed with it, and when he was fired by the Marches, he moved to Arkham with his family. He, of course, was the root of the cursed story, a malicious rumor spread by jealous rivals, no doubt. He squandered his fortune before killing himself to spare his family's embarrassment about the poor choices he had made in his life. The star has changed hands many times, and at least 2 of its owners are reported to have taken their own lives after financial misfortunes. The Tokelau curse is just a way to sell newspapers, if you ask me. Take its most recent owner, Mr. Hollingsworth of Kingsport. Never a hint of problems in his life, and he left his estates to charitable associations. He received a delightful collection of letters handed down from the Civil War documenting the Hollingsworth family's adventures. The lawyer handling the estate dropped them off just yesterday. I think his family may have come from Innsmouth as well, judging by the name. If you have blah 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 blah.
Does it say requirement 4?
If you have requirement card 4.
Okay. I mean, that was just in the red. There was somebody asking, like, oh, is there additional information to be gleaned from this place? And it says, yes, if you're requirement 4, go to supplement encounter 4. I don't know if it says that.
Yeah, I mean, it does say that.
Okay.
But we don't have that.
Yeah. It was just wanted to make sure
It's
so
interesting that
everybody.
the lawyer's from Innsmouth. What was the name of the lawyer? That we talked to in the docs?
Oh,
The assistant was Berkeley.
Joseph Batchelder of the Docks.
Batchelder was the assistant.
Jebediah was the main guy. It didn't have a last name.
Okay, so Jebediah.
And he palmed us off.
Okay,
to-
palm
So
salt.
Joseph Batchelder.
Cool.
So,
Okay, well,
We
that's
have-
some interesting stuff involving
we have
the
2 things pointing to Kizar.
Kizar. We do have 2 things pointing to Kizar right
So we should go there.
if you want.
now. If you'd like, you can go.
Unless you have other leads.
Unless you know it's different.
I mean, there's
There's demons.
Maybe
If
we
you
have to
don't go to
Guan's
K,
house, though,
I will
instead
go
of
to K.
Venus's?
How about that?
I think I want to go to the Kizar house,
Okay.
which is
U66.
Where is that?
Right
Oh.
next to you.
Right down there. Afternoon. Brian, you can help yourself to a beer if you like. I also have Hellboy liquor.
But water's
Hellboy Firewater.
Hellboy.
It's basically a different take on Fireball.
Oh, you should get some of that one. Okay. What?
He just walked away and the fridge was open.
My fridge wasn't in the
Oh, so fancy.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, so fancy.
Yeah, we don't have any requirement cards. You find the well-appointed apartment on the outskirts of town along West Washington Street and rap at the door. A rasping voice from inside invites you in, and you enter a dimly lit series of rooms. A woman sits in a rocking chair, dressed normally apart from the many thin layers of cloth, like a bridal veil that completely obscure her face. You immediately feel nervous. You are not quite sure what to expect, but this certainly wasn't it. I don't get many visitors these days. Never had, come to think of it. So what is it that you want? She says. You notice she is also wearing heavy lace gloves, and guess from her deep voice, she's middle-aged. You cautiously ask her if she is the MK, if she's the MK who benefited from the Berkeley Hollingsworth estate, and immediately she stops her rocking chair dead. Her gloved hands grip the armrest as she sits forward. And why is it you want to know that? She hisses with a violent change in demeanor that takes you aback. The hairs on the back of your neck rise, and the woman stands suddenly from her chair and grips your overcoat with shocking strength. Are you with them?
Do you want HK to die? Just. Sorry, go ahead.
Are you with them? The Innsmouth connection? You manage to twist out her grip and flee from the room as she utters curses with a horrible, snarling, croaking voice that makes you mortally fearful as to what is under Mary Kizar's bed.
She is one of those mutant things from Innsmouth, the half lizard, half human thing.
Half fish, half human?
Yeah, those things. Whatever they called them.
Where is that from?
It's from Cthulhu, the Cthulhu story, where like Innsmouth was like breeding, like the story was worried about inbreeding, and like that's because they were breeding
what are they
between Cthulhu
called?
and humans.
Dagon.
She's one of those things.
No, Dagon is a particular one.
Yeah, but she's one of the minor ones.
I don't know what you're
Yes. The abomination. That is what she is.
What's the spawn?
It's
Fish
Cthulhu.
spawn?
It's Cthulhu.
What was like the name of his
Yeah.
star spawn? Isn't that it?
I don't know, but those things, the low-level ones.
No, star spawn is like a commander.
Well, this went nowhere, so sorry about it.
All right, where should I
We know
go?
there's something going on because this Innsmouth is mentioned a lot.
But we
now.
can't get any requirements.
Yeah, we can't. Like, what's going on with this? Maybe we should grab. I guess we have to find them to find.
Brett, I have ginger ale green tea if you want to try that.
I just want water too because I'm trying to drink off the whatever it was the mixture liquor that we had.
Okay. So where's our best pick next?
Okay. Or Pascal.
Yeah, Pascal Fenton.
Let's go there.
Well, there's Fenton and then there's tracking down the lady from the Volunteer Society.
She's probably
There's the museum.
Well, no, but remember though, the newspaper article tells who did it in her absence, which we could find information from the person who does the society in Venus's absence.
That's a good
You
point.
put the water in?
Yes, you put the water.
Just want to make sure. Fancy long.
Bellinger.
What?
Bellinger.
Who's Bell?
Bellinger, the
The
museum
lady.
lady.
The one that
theft.
stole.
Um,
She should be cut. And she should be cut off.
what was Bellinger? What location?
N67 is her house.
Can you point it out on the map?
Can you imagine stealing something and someone just shows up to your house like, yo?
Sure. Let's check out her
There's
photos.
that, but I'm thinking the Islamic State is literally doing that right now. So
Sure, we'll check her out, even though I feel like this is a false lead.
Yeah.
Bellinger,
Oh.
Bellamy. It makes me think
What
of
is
Powerpuff Girls.
The museum person
Yeah, she does. I don't know why, but it's just because there's a secretary mentioned.
in
regards to-
67.
And, like, Nancy?
Like Nancy.
A worried.
Yep.
A worried housekeeper opens the door, broom in hand. You tell her that Miss Bellinger sent you over from the museum to collect some of her papers for her exhibit, and you really must get them to her. You get a wave of sympathy from the woman. As it turns out, Miss Bellinger isn't a particularly pleasant employer.
Sounds like it.
She points you in the direction of the study and leads you to your own devices. The study is arranged very neatly and precisely, and you are careful not to disturb anything. A heavy royal typewriter and ordered letter rack occupy much of the desk, too. But it is to a large ledger that you are drawn. It appears to be Miss Bellinger's financial records, and a quick glance reveals that the woman is virtually bankrupt. There are unusual notations for large cash deposits at regular intervals, which seem to be keeping your head above water, but things are looking grim. You find several references to a loan as well, and you can see regular payments being made. At the back of the book appears to be a list of artifacts from the museum with lines neatly drawn through them. If you have requirement card 3, please proceed to supplement counters on page 1.
So she's stealing artifacts to pay off a loan.
Yeah.
Who's the loan from?
Well, maybe if we went to the loan office in town, we could find out.
Yeah, but
Well, it's your
wouldn't they
turn.
be
You
like,
can go to the
well,
loan
this-
office.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's going to solve, like, some question about, like, why did this person steal this thing? Because they're bankrupt. But where are you going, Brett?
It's a very good question.
You can go to the loan office.
Is there a loan office in town?
I'm sure
Either that, if there's not really one there, I guess
This
I
is
go to
redemption.
What is it?
I changed whiskeys.
Oh.
Redemption? You're not much of a whiskey drinker, are you? No.
Is it good?
It's not too bad.
Whatever for you. It's raspy cookie.
I'm only starting recently, like dabbling in whiskey. Like trying to find a flavor I like. But Redemption has been like one of the
N12 if you want. What's it called? The Arkham Moon Agency.
N12.
Are you going to N12?
Sure.
We got the time.
Where's the bookmark?
Yeah. I mean, we are towards the back of the book.
Why do they say the ends?
Should we go to Adam's Lumber?
Oh my
No.
gosh, we could go look at some
N12. Oh, this is a thing.
Oh, that's good. I'm surprised.
It's a very small thing, though.
I was gonna say.
The overworked clerk at Arkham Loans is more than happy to take a minute away from addressing final payment demands. The events of Wall Street in 1929 are still having consequences for many citizens who found their savings gone and their loans defaulted. It's depressing to see the pile of misery that the poor clerk is in charge of posting. You ask her if Amanda Bellinger was one of the people on her list, and she clearly remembers the woman, whom she describes in unflattering terms. She came here demanding a loan and tried to offer an old statue as collateral, claiming it was worth thousands of dollars. When she was turned down, she stormed out, shouting she knew where she would get a good price, and calling the manager.
So that was kind of...
Yeah. Shouting that she knew where she would get a good price. Can't really
Well,
tell
she
if
didn't
that
shout
implies-
where. I'm
Can't-
headed here.
Should I go speak to our moles?
Our mole and Fenton are two different people.
I know.
Our mole is at L18.
I'm just saying,
Fenton's
should
at
we-
L4.
Do you think the Silver Twilight would know anything about these artifacts you're trying to find?
Most certainly. And I'm going to whatever he doesn't go
Oh, okay.
Wow. Okay.
I'll go there. So,
Which one are you going to?
mole.
That
The
is
Silver Twilight.
L18.
I'm sure there's going to be no info.
Find out.
to. Is there an entry?
It's like a sentence.
Tapping 3 times at the back porch screen door. You're greeted by Lyman, who even with his.
Yep, Sebastian Lyman.
Yeah, even with the shirt sleeves rolled up, manages to convey an immaculate style you can never hope to match. He smooths his waxed mustache as you tell about the disappearances in the Star of Tokelau. Armitage is right to be suspicious. I know the Silver Twilight doesn't have a vested interest in the gem. That's not to say there wouldn't be any number of interested parties in recovering the star. The federal agents that have closed up Innsmouth weren't as thorough as they think they were. They make small talk for a few more minutes before they decide to press on and track for another avenue of investigation.
So clearly, the curator lady is going to eventually try to sell this gem to these interested parties, it sounds like. The question is, what's this Innsmouth thing that's happening? There's clearly people in this town.
I'm surprised no one suggested going to the
Don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Go.
Don't tempt me. I will do it.
Oh. Like we're going to, I feel like we're going to all the wrong places because we're not. There's all these requirements. Like every place has a requirement card. So once again, Pascal, resident and cultist and spiritualist. He's at L4. Are you going there?
No, I don't.
That's the spirit.
Wow, guys.
I'm just like, what? Because I'm just like, anything to do.
3, 6, 9.
And there's, what,
Oh, it's okay.
what was the keys? One second. What was the keys port thing?
That they got money from the
Is
donation
that a
thing.
company or
That's a town.
It was a Kingsport Foundation.
Yeah, and there's
Oh,
a
okay.
Kingsport. There's a town Kingsport around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not. That's all.
It is a place.
We never went to the chemical supply?
Nope.
Good choice.
I'm alright. Alright. The occultist. I didn't realize that there was an E in his name.
Yeah.
Whose?
Yeah.
Pascal?
Pasquale?
Yeah,
That's
don't
well.
have to pronounce the.
You can just say. Go ahead.
Could be French.
Pasquale Fenton.
No.
Pascal.
Pasquale. Where would? Go
I forgot
ahead.
about these.
Looks
What are you looking
while
at?
I get the
Just the
knowledge.
road tab. The rouge. Sorry. Continue.
Looks smug at the knowledge that once again you have had to resort to calling upon him
Fuck
for
you,
assistance
Pasquale.
with the case. He doesn't invite you to sit, but instead he rises to greet you. So what brings Armitage's protege to disturb my communion with a higher plane? You explain about the disappearances and a possible occult connection to the star of Tokelau. I'm afraid I can't help you.
Unless you have a requirement card.
Well, I could, but I don't have the time to lecture you on the creatures of the benighted deep
Cthulhu.
and their connection with decadent, paid
Cthulhu!
Innsmouth.
Cthulhu!
Those who have devoted themselves to its resurrection call the resurrection of Innsmouth. Call themselves the Innsmouth Connection, which is what MK said we were with.
Yes.
Suffice to say, the stone and its setting are plainly crafted in the style of those connected with the shadow fell over that town and its unfortunate people. How about you become my student? Have you not learned enough from that old man? Then you would have this knowledge already from my bearing it onto you. Before you can insult him by calling him Pasquale, he rings a small bell and a strange Indonesian butler. That's racist. A strange Indonesian butler escorts you to the door of silence.
Cthulhu.
So that was. What was it?
Do we have any other leads?
We have the Bemis thing.
I mean,
there's the chemical navy.
There's chemicals and there's Bemis. Because these bootleggers, I think these
What was-
bootleggers are.
What was
are,
the interesting thing
are-
about Bemis again?
She's the third lady that was missing.
But we
We
heard
think-
about her. But we heard about her through.
But if we go to her, won't her place
We heard
just be
that in the
closed?
Well, we heard about her in the garden, but
Right.
she's also in the newspaper. Well, that's why we go to Rosa Reborn, because this news article says the person who's in charge of the Veterans Association in her absence is this Reborn lady.
So not Bemis.
Well, it's the Bemis connection, but we're going to this place. We're going to this lady's
All right.
house.
So where is?
Rosa Reborn?
Rabon.
R-A-B-O-U.
R-A-B. Oh, the first one. L30.
Yeah. So Rosa, that
L3?
30.
L30. Yeah.
Is that where
So
we're going?
is it?
Yeah, that's where we're going. It's not good.
And this is Miss Bemis's replacement at the Historical Society?
The American Legion. The Ladies Auxiliary of the American Legion.
What?
Wow.
The impressively dressed
Don't at me.
Wait, what is it?
30. We're going to fail this case so hard. The impressively dressed elderly woman surveys you suspiciously for a moment. She seems to make up her mind and tells you she hasn't seen Grace for over a week. I suspect that she has been ill. The poor dear. She had been complaining about nausea and headaches the last time we spoke. She lives on French Hill. If you see her, do pass on my best wishes. With a smile, you thank her for her time.
You know old people are so hard to find.
Yeah, so I think we moved quickly.
Where are you going, Brett? You going to go to Bemis?
Bemis's house?
Oh my gosh, we're so...
We're really stupid on this one.
Yeah.
We palmed the pooch on this one, guys.
There's still weed ham.
There's Weedham. And there's...
The chemical factory.
Which is, why is that a connection again?
Because it's come up like 3 times.
It came up with the dogs. I might go there.
I'll do a shot in the dark. It's not going to work, and I'll do Weedham. So
That was, what, F66?
F58.
58.
F.
If it's the right weed.
Okay, we'll find out really quickly.
He was probably a federal agent.
He
in
was the
Edmond,
Treasury
So
agent.
maybe.
F what?
58.
No, it's not a thing. So I'm gonna.
We're going...
We're gonna.
Doing
Can I
it.
mulligan
Mulligan
that?
that. We're mulliganing that.
Cool.
We need all the mulligans we can get.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what else? We have the chemical factory, and we have.
Bemis?
I can go to Bemis.
I mean, here's another
I think it
option.
was breaking.
We could, I mean, since she stole a book, we could go to a bookstore maybe?
There's
Or
a
I
lot
mean, we
of
could
those.
go to the library and see if they know who stole it, or they have like a clue.
I thought we knew who stole it.
We
No,
think
it's
it's the curator.
I mean, but all we know is that the Bellinger is the one who said, "I don't care if they don't have the book anymore. Like if someone stole the book, I still want the plaque to read that
It has a
is
curse.
a curse."
Make it up
Yeah.
if you have to.
So I mean, we're assuming.
We already went to our underground.
I don't
people.
think well, I mean, that person stealing stuff to sell it off to pay off a debt.
Do we know Bemis's place?
F47
F47.
store.
I'm tempted to do F47.
We will give you a second mulligan if
There's
it's
a
not
rare
there.
books and map store as
It exists.
All right, F47.
So I'm not. It's not great.
Yeah.
Rare.
You sure?
Nope, do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The mailboxes indicate that a Bemis is in apartment 2, but there's no answer to the buzzer. As you make your way down the step to consider your alternatives, you almost bump into a young man in an apron, hurrying up the steps with a large covered dish. Excuse me, sorry, this casserole will get cold if I waste any more time. He seems startled to take a key out of his pocket and offer to help him by holding his dish so he can get the door open. Thank you so much. This is my last delivery for Miss Bemis. She's ever so poorly, and the doctor has told her she must try to eat. You tell the man that you feared for Mr. Bemis' safety. The man smiles, telling you that his mother is an old friend of hers. They've been sending up food for a few days now to try and help build up her strength after a particularly bad bout of the flu. You ask if you might call on Miss Bemis. If you have arrived on this location on or after the evening of day 2, please proceed to supplemental encounters on page 122 and read entry number 10.
It's definitely after that.
Yeah. Entry number 10 isn't on 122. Sure, whatever.
Well, the supplements start on 122.
Cool. The man considers your request. Well, she has been getting better this last couple of days. I don't suppose 5 minutes would hurt. He leads you up a narrow staircase and introduces you to a frail, elderly lady swaddled in a shawl. As she picks at her casserole, she considers your questions about the disappearances of Colonel Benoit and Sergeant Salter. I'm not sure I can shed any light on that, dear. I was supposed to meet with them on Saturday at the cafe to discuss the spring fundraiser. We often get together there, as do many people our age. They do a nice spread. They were always talking of taking one more trip to the sea for unfinished business, but who knows what might have been. They are quite private, reserved men, really. Have you tried asking at the Veterans Home, or possibly the Armory? So that's what would have happened on that day. They would have met at the... Well, she was supposed to.
So we need to go to the Veterans Home.
We already did.
Wait, which
We did
one
the
was
Veterans
that?
Home, we did
That's
the
like
Armory.
the first place we won.
Yeah,
No,
that was-
because that was I didn't go
Well,
before.
that was like the second place we won.
Yeah. So, yeah. One last trip to sea, and we went to the docks already. Unless there's other boat
Well, I'm sure there's
people.
other boat.
Are there stores? Like, is there a store that sounds like a maritime provision?
I was looking for bicycle,
You're just like failing so hard.
glass floor, antique books, Walgreens.
Where are you taking us, Brian?
I'm proud. Oh, there's a boat and bait.
Maybe.
Used books, timepieces, confectionery. I think I'm gonna go to this camera.
Huh?
I need more.
Yeah, you do. I'm like super upset with this.
It's
That's all. I'll go to the chemical squad.
The Innsmouth connection.
Abby.
Oh, that's sweet. It looks inedible.
It does. I'm trying to. It looks like
That's like
dye.
such a color.
So
I mean,
it's
it's-
7 as well.
It's cinnamon mouthwash. Yeah, it's cinnamon.
Some kind of-
Yeah, have you ever had cinnamon mouthwash?
Well,
Yeah.
why would you want
Here's some
cinnamon?
Fireball.
Fireballs.
They're the same thing, basically.
Just so.
Different colors and
Just
different.
colors a little more often.
I mean, it's a little bit. It tastes a little different too.
Like, where you
So-
want fireball?
What?
You want fireball?
No, this is different. Hey. So where did you go?
Chemical
What numbers?
E6.
Oh, you found
Two things immediately strike you about Sanderson's chemical supply. First, its rundown condition, and second, the unholy sulfur smells that hang over the area. A thin, dark-suited man approaches you from the direction of the plant and looks you up and down suspiciously. I sincerely hope you're not following a federal officer as he goes around his business. You hastily explain that you're on an errand for a friend, and not here connected with any federal matter. Before he can press you further, he is distracted by a man hailing him from the plant. They head to a small side office, conversing fiercely. You cannot resist peeking inside the car before you leave. Several official government papers have the name of Treasury Agent Wheaton printed on them, but your eye is caught by part of the handwritten letter that peeks out from underneath the pile of paperwork. My dear son William, if you should receive this letter, then I am likely to be dead. Know that... ... The letter is dated from a month ago, but you cannot read anymore. Deciding you have enough of a mystery in your hands already, you decide to leave it in the hands of the treasured creature.
William Wheaton. The son William Wheaton.
You don't really know that. That's William's son. You just know that William has a letter to a son. William Hollingsworth.
Maybe.
Is there a Hollingsworth?
There's a double
I mean, I end up going to be going to like Batchelder if nothing comes up.
Because I mean, that would be a place to go, right? Hollingsworth, last people that had the stone, maybe they know something.
Yeah.
Okay,
So there's no Hollingsworth. Because it's a Kingsport person.
right. Is there anything in there that says Innsmouth?
So there's a William Wheaton.
Like, is there like any businesses that have the word Innsmouth on them?
mouth box.
There is.
Boss. A bus company.
Yeah.
Why would you? It's
The
just
Innsmouth connection. Buses connect
Oh,
places.
yeah.
What number is it?
D3.
Don't do it.
Are you doing it?
I'll mulligan if there's something.
If there's nothing there, you can
There's
mulligan.
obviously
But if there's
nothing
something,
Obviously nothing there.
well, I mean, it's not obviously. There could have
No,
been
it's
something
not.
there.
Is there anything else that says Innsmouth?
I mean, Innsmouth is not
Stop
here.
asking stupid
I
questions.
looked it up alphabetically.
Let's talk through these clues, guys, because we have to.
Do we have clues?
We're nearing the end.
We know the existence of something called the Innsmouth connection, and they obviously don't have the best relationship with whoever's living in the U66, whatever that person is, right?
What was U66? Oh, it was
Cthulhu. It was a spawn.
So there's the
the
hospital,
car,
there's
the
St.
MK.
Mary's.
St. Mary's got a lot of money from.
That was just money. We want information. There's only letters sent to 2 people.
MK.
And we need a supplement. We
Remember,
needed
MK,
8.
Yeah, MK was the daughter. We assume is the daughter of the captain that killed himself.
Or the wife.
After having the stone, after bringing it back.
What was EW?
EW?
They said, by the way, EW.
That was the hospital.
Oh, EW. That
that was
no.
the hospital. Was it?
Yes.
The hospital got the most money by way of EW.
Yeah.
And we already
That was the
went
St.
to
Mary's Hospital.
Right. And we already went to the Historical Society.
For DD.
So, did we go to? No, we haven't gone to the train station.
What's at the train station?
I don't know.
No, there was something near the train station. That was the
Oh
campus.
yeah, the
Yeah.
desolate cat. Oh yeah, that everything.
So
I mean,
what's the?
we
That's
could-
this lawyer sounds like
we
a
could
very
do-
suspicious character. Because what did that lady say? Are you
Who
with
else did
the?
police guy mention? We have to eat
Mickey
Richard
Toll.
Needham, who lingers at the dock, needs to examined on nefarious.
Mickey Toll.
I mean, what about going to Salter Benoit's house? There were a couple cases where it was like their house had shit there.
Yeah, like the first one with the seed.
Yeah, the seed I remember pretty good.
Or it's just going to be like
But there's 2 of them, so.
Dying would give us more information than anything
yeah,
else.
one of them, I forget which one I thought sent it. I think Benoit sent it to.
Do you know what his address is?
333. Close.
Our master. Are you going to U33?
I don't know where else to go. Do you guys have any other better ideas?
Uncharted Isle.
Unvisited Isle.
Unvisited Isle and the boat place.
I think the boat store was. I'm just gonna try this.
U33?
Yeah, right?
What about the
U.
Yes.
U33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not on the
Okay.
right case.
No, she's on the right.
She's now.
Is she?
Alright. The fog is thick. As you stride purposefully along West Miskatonic Avenue in Uptown, you arrive at the large, stately home of Colonel Henry Benoit and can just make out the stars and stripes hanging limply from a flagpole in the front yard. With your knocks unanswered and the fog masking your approach, you skirt around the building until you find a French window which opens with a firm shut. Eager to hunt for clues before you are disturbed, you make your way through the house, finding that only about a sixth of it appears to have been lived in. All except the kitchen parlor and one of the upstairs bedrooms have the furniture covered in dust sheets and the drapes pulled close. You concentrate your search on the occupied rooms and discover little. There's a ticket for the museum gala event on Saturday evening standing in the letter rack, along with a scribbled letter and a shaky hand, penned from John.
John, that was a name that's been mentioned. Was that, must be the sergeant. I think it's the sergeant's name.
John Salter. It reads, Henry, I fear for our safety. When the Kraken went down with all hands during the war, we swore we wouldn't tell about the horrors from below that
The
wrought
Kraken
the destruction.
was the ship that killed Cthulhu in that fucking story.
Okay. I was passing Yates the other day on the way from the armory, and
Yates?
he had,
Yates?
So this must be
Is that
one of
his
the
name?
guys that's missing. It must be Yates Benoit Salter.
Yates. Yeah, Yates is a new one.
Yeah, I was passing Yates's, I guess, the other day on the way from the armory, and he had some of their jewelry on display.
Yates is fine jewelers.
Okay, yeah. So she's been pawning stuff to the jeweler, maybe?
Well, I mean, it's the big old diamond. The big old gem.
I could see that.
Oh wait, just kidding. It's not Yates. It's this guy. Matthew McDermott keeps insisting I go fishing with him in his charter boat. He thinks it would do me good. Perhaps it would do us both good before it is too late. They will come for us, Henry. What should we do? Will Charles come? I fear those deep ones and their loathsome servants, the accursed Innsmouth connection, will come for us. It is time for them to finish what they started in 1917. Then in all caps, what should we do? 3 question marks.
Okay.
You carefully replace the note, leaving everything as you found it, and slip out of the house by the way you came.
There's a lot of stuff to digest in that letter.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go.
Okay, so there's McDermott.
Well, wait, who was the third person that confronted us in the museum and when we were looking at the diamond that threatened to sue us?
That was
Seawater?
Robbins, and then the guy.
Yeah.
no.
No. It was Mr.
It was the assistant.
Yeah, this is Mr. McSween.
I'd like to point out, he smelled of seaweed.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're at the point in time where this is pretty
I-
suspicious.
McSweeney, but he does Maxwell or McSweeney?
Who?
Let me see.
Maybe it's Max Sweeney.
No, you want me to know Maxwell? Oh, well, that's because of McSweeney. F-63 is McSweeney.
And that's the assistant curator. Okay.
That's a fish guy.
I think.
Yeah.
Remember, we also smelled seaweed in the lawyer's office?
What lawyer's office?
Where's the docs?
It was a lawyer's office?
I don't know how, but apparently we talked about estate shit in that.
Yeah, it
Place.
did smell like seaweed, but that, I mean, they were by the
As I
ocean.
say, you're back in the box.
Yeah.
Cthulhu.
I mean,
We agree. No one's disputing the Cthulhu connection.
Wait, so from that entry,
Very specific about this.
there's
a lot of stuff.
McDermott guy.
yeah, so the
McDermott.
letter was from Salter
So is
and
the-
mentions Yates fine jewelry having stuff on display from like the depths. And then Matthew McDermott is the one who was going to take them fishing, and then they mentioned Charles. Is Charles coming? Who's Charles?
We don't have any. We can't do
But
Remember
Matthew
Charles.
McDermott was the one that takes them fishing, so I bet that the 3 missing people are McDermott, Salter, and Benoit. In reality, all they did was deep sea fishing.
No, they're going to take McDermott's boat. The Charles, John, and Benoit are going to take McDermott's boat out to do whatever
Oh,
they're
it
doing.
sounded like Charles is.
So we have 3
Charles
locations to
don't do
go to. Do we care about going to the jewelry place?
No. That's not priority 1.
I mean, all I think they would be able to say is that, well, Ballinger was conning this stuff to us.
Yeah, we're trying to sell. I
Those
mean,
are
we're
just
talking
creepy
about a
statues
giant
we saw
can.
us stealing.
So is Dermot or McSweeney the better
I think
choice?
McSweeney's the better.
Yeah, 'cause he did smell like fish. What is Robin's? What's his location?
Robbins.
Well, I thought it was Robin McSweeney.
No, that's
No,
a different
that's
guy.
a different guy, Mr. Robbins.
Okay, the fish guy who caught
That's
us.
That's McSweeney.
That's F-63.
Let's do this.
Robbins is what's that called?
We're doing this. F-63. Where's the book?
Go somewhere.
Story
Nope.
of my life.
Hey, where did the bookmark go?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
it's
hard
on
to find.
sinking.
Some of it.
Found it.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Pull it out a little bit. Just a little bit.
Keeps on falling in.
Alright. F63. The door to the small apartment of Ferris McSweeney is opened by a woman who introduces herself as Mrs. McSweeney. You tell her the details of your investigation and she immediately invites you inside. From your conversation with Mrs. McSweeney, you learn that despite his gruff exterior, Ferris is an honorable and loving man who has ambitions to host his own expedition one day. While Amanda Bellinger remains his boss, however, his chances are limited, as she takes credit for work her team produces and seems to live in luxury despite her modest university stipend. If you have requirement card 3, proceed to supplement encounters on page 122. Otherwise, die. It
Did we
isn't.
move that?
No. We're good.
So,
What's the plan?
R.
Or what? Brian, you have the last location. You better make it good.
Oh dear. Matthew McDermott is a jovial Scottish man who has plowed the waters of the Massachusetts coast for over 20 years. You tell him you're investigating the disappearance of 2 old military men. Sergeant Salter and Colonel Benoit, they called in to see me. Salter seemed to want to take a trip on my boat, but the colonel wasn't so sure. Salter told me he just needed a bit more persuasion. A bad experience at sea, he explained. Perhaps they called in at Marley's? The sergeant did mention that to Benoit as they were leaving. He tells you that he's happy to take you out sailing if you have somewhere in mind. Marley's probably too busy anyways. He's sure they've got bootleggers down at the caves that use to winter their boats. I think the police caught a couple on the docks earlier this week. Yes, that was boats and bait? Yep. If you have requirement card 7, please proceed to supplemental
Oh
encounters on
my
page
gosh.
122 and read 7.
Where do you pick them up? Is what I'm
Don't.
wondering.
I mean, I feel like it's a bunch of supplements. I feel like you get one, and it's going to trigger like all the rest.
Well, there's one that I see, I didn't read it, but I know that there's one right above this that gives us requirement card 2, so.
Brian, where are you taking us?
Where do you think I should
What's
I
our
don't know.
last
Does
thing?
it? I almost feel like they're like, all right, let's scrap this and start all over.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I got the time.
It's up to you guys.
Where do we start?
Well, let's finish this last one and then start it over, so we're good to go. McDermott's.
But I thought you. Wait, where did you go?
You just want to get
Sorry, go to Marley's.
Marley's?
Are we
Yeah.
starting over, or are we...
Go to Marley's and then we'll start over.
Do we want to?
I am okay starting over, but I've always been of the opinion that we can like choose to start over. whenever
Yeah,
we
but
want
like
to.
it's like you answer the questions and
Like as soon
before
as
you.
when we get to the
I
questions,
think
that's the part where we can't start.
I think...
Once we read the answers to
I
that.
was going to say, once we read the questions, I think it would be back to start over.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
If we're going to start over, I think we should before even read questions.
So let's go
Well,
to Marley's and then start it over. Because we're not going to read the questions.
Well, go to where you want to
Go
go.
to the jewelry.
Fuck you.
Okay.
I just want to...
Politely. I'm sorry, Brian. Fuck you.
Yeah, because I think we should...
Where is this?
M29.
We are failing so far.
Yeah, that's why. For failing, might as well go to the more pointless location.
I'm visiting the aisle.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Is that one?
M9, yeah.
No, you're going to M29.
There's
There is no vision.
Oh,
Okay, ready?
wait. Where are you going?
The jewel. Yates
Oh,
is jewel.
That's why I thought you were saying.
There's no unvisited aisle.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying there's no jewelry, and I was like, oh.
Well, we can go to the cafe on the morning next. You take an instant dislike to the pretentious jeweler, Mr. Yates. He rounds on you as soon as you enter the store, speaking through his nose with an irritating whistling noise, trying to hard sell New timepiece, perhaps? Something frivolous for that special someone? A gift for your favorite relative? You interrupt his aggressive pitch and point to some pendants labeled as Innsmouth Gold. They seem to match the style of the star of the Tokelau necklace. Your eye is fixed on the strange jewelry, and you feel as though you could spend hours studying the striking and untraditional designs. You feel nauseous and lightheaded until Yates pulls you away from the case. Well,
Non-Euclidean mathematics, yes.
what? Bills I'm selling on behalf of Mr. Wake, who owns the store around the corner. We share a lot of the trade. He makes things and I sell them on. He comes from Innsmouth. And, you know, if you ask me, he still has some strong ties to that town.
Connections, perhaps?
As there were a couple of Innsmouth types arguing with him earlier on in the week. You surely have heard about Innsmouth along the coast. Squalor criminals. A once proud fishing town laid low by the evils of drink. The federal authorities are all but closed the place down in the raids of 28. They were shouting about this and that, and one of them kept insisting that Wait pay the restaurant bill to the Russian that they owed.
Is it Wait? How do you spell it?
Wait.
W-A-I-T.
Oh.
Okay. So, he's from Innsmouth. That's in connection to Innsmouth.
Well, that's everything.
So, what happens is we go to Armiture's place, and then suddenly time starts just going backwards.
Are we deciding we're starting over from
Yes.
scratch?
Yes, we are.
I think we should start. Well, maybe not from scratch.
Well, no, let's start over, but we will just remember the locations that we actually got stuff from, and we'll just go to them.
We're doing it Brett's way. Let's just start over. That's actually good.
We're starting over.
Alright. Boom.
And then what we can do is we're just like, okay, so what are the locations we went to?
There is fog in the morning air, and
God.
it's chilly. It makes you pull.
I swear to God, if one of the questions isn't what was the weather like, I'm gonna be so mad.
No, what was the weather like in this one specific part of town that we didn't go to?
Yeah. What part of town was sunny? Oh, okay.
Oh, shit.
Did we go to both Fenton and Lyman?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were both
We went
useless.
to
They were
Like,
both
where else is there to go?
I think at the end we were getting.
We were getting there.
I think at the very
But no,
last
but
two-
even like Abby,
They're not as helpful. when
Abby
it's
had
later
like
on
a
there.
good thing, and it popped up all these locations. We went to all those locations, and nothing, everything was a
now
dead
we have
end.
Wait to go to.
Yeah, we have Wait to go
We
to.
have the other boat shop to go to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got
the
a
boat
bunch-
shop.
there's a lot of good stuff. So okay, if
Maybe we
this,
should-
Okay. So where did we find out about Wait?
We just found out.
we just found out about Wait. At the
Well, I know. I'm trying to be not completely broken and be like, okay,
No.
maybe
agree.
we jump a couple things. Like
No,
we don't
let's-
actually reread them, but like, oh, where did we find out about
I
Wait?
think-
We found out
I
about here.
agree.
I agree.
So-
the veterans home.
We go to the veterans home. That's
I think we go to the veterans home in the museum.
So where were those two?
So-
The
so,
veterans
okay,
home
first
was
stop.
the afternoon one.
First stop, we'll do Veterans Home.
Yes,
Right.
I think that should have been our first stop.
Okay, and then second stop, museum.
yes. And then from the veterans home, we can go to the guys' houses because we, right?
Okay, so
From the veterans home, we could have gone to the houses or the guard armory.
Whose houses?
We will go to
Benoit.
Benoit's house.
I think, without being overly pushy, we could say also we stopped at the guard
We
armory.
could.
Because I think that also pointed more towards Benoit. One of the things I thought pointed more towards.
So why don't we do Benoit's house third, and then
The
What was
guard
the
armory.
sergeant that went by the guard armory though? There's the sergeant that always went to the guard armory.
It was both of them.
Okay.
But I think just
Okay.
we don't have to stop at
well, why don't we go to Salter's house fourth then?
the guard
I
armory.
didn't-
We haven't been to some.
Right, that's
So,
what I'm saying. Why don't we do that this
okay,
time?
so that can be our.
Fourth stop.
Yeah. Let's just make a list of required stops first, and then
Yeah.
we'll go from the. We'll figure out the order about this later. But
Yeah.
just what are
Okay,
stops
so
that we
after
think are
Benoit,
required?
I think then we go to the jewelers.
Okay, so Jewelers is required
The
stop.
Yates
then.
Jewelers.
The ones that I just read.
Yeah, so Yates Jewelers is a required
And
stop.
then I
then.
think we should go to Wait.
Wait, I think also going to this Doc's place.
The docks was fun.
Doc's and then
The
the
old.
MK whatever.
Oh, MK.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I
Those
have.
two
All right,
committed
so
to
I
the-
have the Veterans Home Museum, Benoit, Yates, Doc.
MK.
Wait.
Why would we go to MK's?
But I thought that's where we first heard about the Innsmouth connection.
I mean,
Other people. Oh, what about the Oh, I think we should go to
The only person who talks about
The
the
what?
Isabel connection is Fenton.
the.
No, she talked about the mouse kind
No,
Yeah,
her
the
and
thief.
Fenton.
What's this?
Bellinger.
Oh, that's museum.
Bellinger, right?
Wait, no, it was Salter. You wrote down Salter, so we haven't gotten there. Okay, that's why.
Wait.
Otherwise, we're good.
I think we should go to Waits.
Oh, we haven't gone to Waits.
No, we've gone to Yates.
Yes, that's
And
yeah.
then from there we should go to Wait.
No, we're just talking about stuff acquired that we've been to.
So we have
This is
five.
the scope of the discussion.
The 5 locations I have right now is Veterans House, or Veterans
Oh,
Home, Museum, Benoit's House, Jewelry, and Dock.
Yes.
and then the two we haven't been to that we need to go to are Salters and Waits.
Yes, but so are there any others that we have been to that we need to go to?
I wish I wrote down actual names of
I
places
mean,
instead
the
of just
Langer
letters.
house just gave us information about her being broke.
What was
Yes.
L1?
But we don't really need it.
I went to L1. Wasn't that the museum?
I want the Historical Society.
That one wasn't useless.
That was really all it did was tell us that
That pushes.
MK
It pushes to the
Yeah.
whatever.
But we don't need to go back to her.
Okay.
I don't think that.
All right, so we'll just start with 5.
So there's nothing else.
I thought that the Belanger house was.
Which one was that?
information she's the one that was going.
I
broke.
could see Belanger House being.
Yeah.
I think that was useful
So-
knowledge. Like, I don't think
We
that's-
didn't know she was broke before. We just thought she could have been stealing stuff for cultists, but no, it's for money.
So I think adding that is.
Okay, so we have 6 locations.
So we'll start money.
Is there? Yeah.
So, yes.
Oh, so we'll start. We can go to the cafe.
Yeah.
Well, it's his choice.
Was it a supplement encounter?
It was specifically if you come here at that time, it was a supplement.
I'm almost tempted just because the freaking requirement calls.
Supplements?
So who was Saltzman again?
Salt. Is that the other missing?
The Salter. So we had Waits and Salter.
Benoit and Salter were the two old guys. The veterans.
That disappeared.
Sergeant Salter and Colonel Benoit.
Wait is the ins and outs connection guy.
Wait is the jeweler that Yates.
Screw it. I'm going to do the coffee. Whatever. I'll waste my turn.
Aunt Enid's.
What place was that? That was
Enid.
N33.
Yeah.
I also think the boat shop we should go
But McDermott's?
to. No, the boat shop. To go to. The place we
Wait,
haven't been.
Boat shop.
So we're
Aunt
starting.
Enid, N33, Aunt Enid's. Aunt Enid's Cafe is a modern, gleaming establishment that has a counter service rather than the usual waitress taking orders at the tables. In fact, the whole establishment is geared towards the customer on the go. And yes,
Intel.
and the menu seems to consist of heavy meals served in large portions with crisp white crockery.
Yep.
If you have arrived at the location during morning of day 3, proceed to supplement encounters and read entry 12. Alright. Aunt Enid's is bustling with elderly people escaping the freezing winter fog to enjoy the good conversation and hot soup. As the patrons begin their meals, you are able to speak with one of the volunteers who answers your questions in an absent-minded fashion while watching the room in case she is needed. You ask if she knows about the missing men, Colonel Benoit, Sergeant Salter, or Grace Bemis. Oh yes, I'm surprised not to see them here, stalwarts of the soup morning. They normally sit with the lieutenant. He's over there. She gestures on to an empty table that a young server is just clearing. Oh, he must have finished and left already. Poor Lieutenant Keyes has been missing his friends frightfully, as he has no family to speak of. He was married to the army for 35 years. Such a shame for him. As for Grace, she's got the flu, I believe. They're all in a fundraising association together, Grace. That's weird. Anyways, Henry and the rest, and often sit Henry and the rest,
Grace, Henry,
and often sit together, hatching their next scheme. If you're short of something to do, then you could always roll up your sleeves up and pitch in here. Normally, these two young men from the museum help us out, but neither has shown up today. Too busy with their gala event, no doubt. You explained that you'd love to stay and help in your investigations for our team.
So, does that mean, did the museum have a time requirement?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
at night.
So,
Day 3 night.
we've got, that may be something.
But you have day 3 afternoon.
I do, I don't have night.
Oh, I don't.
Well, you know what?
Suck it up!
I wanted to go to the boat shop.
Lieutenant Keys. I'm gonna go to the boat shop.
We have plenty
What
of
about
turns for you to go to the
Salter's
boat
house
shop.
and
shop.
Wade's
I'm
house?
I'm gonna go to the boat shop. Tell me
What?
the damn boat shop number.
Sorry,
we're
what
gonna
did
go
you
to the
say?
museum.
I was saying
R5.
Salter's house and
R5?
Wade's house.
Yeah, those are 2 more we need to go to.
Well, we're going to the boat shop.
Boat shop is what?
R5. R5. Got it. Okay. Marley's is a popular destination for the nautically inclined citizens of Arkham, catering for everything from casual leisure fishing to more serious yachting. You nonchalantly peruse the goods for sale before discreetly asking the young sales clerk if there have been any unusual activity in the local area, or if they've heard of Sergeant Salter or Colonel Benoit. The clerk thinks for a moment. Now that you mention it, there were a couple of military gentlemen here a few weeks ago trying to find out if Matthew McDermott's charter boats were safe. They didn't leave their names, but I told them that I'd trust Matthew with my life. We've had the usual unsavory types from along the coast as well, although there are fewer now that the federal government has practically closed Innsmouth up. How do you close a city up? I wager, anyways, back in character, I wager that they are the same people using the river caves downstream of here. Mr. Marley reckons there have been people meeting there at night, as it's out of sight of the main dock. Bootleggers from Kingsport, most likely. The clerk takes you outside and points out a rough track. If you find out who has been there, let me know so I can report them to the police for trespassing. You follow the narrow track as it leads down beside the river cliff to a small series of cave entrances, still wet from the high tide. You make your way in and out of the caves until you discover what looks like the remains of a fire. Picking through the burned remains, you were able to find 2 clues. The first is a scrap of paper torn out of a book, on which you can make out the crest of the Miskatonic University Library. Secondly, there's a fragment of a typewritten note that reads, "Needs 3 if they are to be appeased. You 2 handle that. I'll deal with the museum by." You pocket the scraps and head back to Riverton. If you do not already have it, take requirement card 2.
Except, like, I feel like we haven't come across a single thing that said requirement
Nothing
card
said
2.
2. It's 3. We want requirement
And
card
4.
3. The first.
Well, let's not be picky here.
You know what,
I'm gonna
be.
Anyways, I'd like to point out, needs 3 if they are to be appeased. You 2 handle that. I'll deal with the museum by. And it's a crest from the Miskatonic University Library.
Well, that's the book that was burned in Tom 7 first.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Requirement card 2.
So, maybe something's gonna happen at the university
So it's from the
tonight.
library.
Are you, wait,
Maybe something's gonna
gala
happen at the
event.
university tonight.
Gala event.
To the library I go.
To the university.
You're skipping the gala events?
The gala event
Fuck the
at
gala
the
event.
museum. At the museum.
Brian's not
What's the
taking
number?
C24. Are we going to the museum then?
Yes, we are.
Wait.
I went to the
Wait,
boat
didn't we
shop
already
for
go to the
you.
museum and that's where the fishy guy accosted us when we were looking
Well,
at
Yeah,
it?
but we're
yeah.
going
But was there a
this
time? Was there a time requirement on that
There was
entry?
a there was a
Yeah, there was.
supplement on the.
But was it 2?
No. There wasn't. Was
Well,
there
was
a?
a supplement,
wasn't there a
like
time?
There's a time
requirement.
There's a time requirement, right?
Yeah.
It's tonight.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
tonight.
Cool.
It's tonight's the gala.
Yeah.
Alright.
Why are we arguing?
Because this is important. Damn it.
Because we want the gala
Board
event.
games are important.
Yeah, I'm at the gala.
All right. Cool. So what's going on at the gala?
I gotta get ahead of
You gotta tell us. Wait, you're not gonna read the intro? To
No,
remind
we
us?
already.
it.
What's-
It's
Well, if it's short, then you can read it.
You walk along the West College Street. The fog still suffocating the town. You hear the muffled chime of the Copley Memorial Bell Tower as you push through the door to the university exhibit room.
We know this.
The policeman moves to check your arrival, but is one of Garrison's men. When he recognizes you, he nods cordially and returns to his guard position.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like, if it was quick, just quickly refresh.
You asked him to read it.
I did!
Yeah.
I did.
I did.
I appreciated knowing about the fog.
Despite the chill and the thick, foul-smelling fog, the museum gala event seems to be a huge success. The wealthy and worthy have shown up in large numbers, and you are taken aback by the immaculate suits and the elegant gowns, as if the crash of '29 had never happened. As you slip into the hall, one of Garrison's men recognizes you and informs you that there are 15 officers on duty tonight in and around the museum. Heading through the noisy throng, you eventually find the main exhibit hall. Dominating the space are 3 enormous moai heads from Easter Island. And the room is lined with beautiful display cases containing artifacts from the Pacific. You hear a shrill peal of laughter, and your eye is drawn to a small crowd gathered around a tall blonde woman in a stylish designer dress. As you watch, she stalks over to a small podium and taps her glass, an expectant hush falling over the room. Ladies and gentlemen of Arkham, as head curator of this new exhibit, I bid you welcome. The woman has an air of superiority and is talking down to the room as though they were small children. I have worked tirelessly to bring you the finest of the South Seas, but realize that it is for one thing alone you've come tonight. She gestures to a covered point at the far end of the exhibition hall. It gives me great pleasure to share with you my piece de resistance, the jewel of my crown, so to speak. At this, she snorts at her own weak joke. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Star of Tokelau. The cover is whipped off to reveal a stunning necklace with a star, a huge gem twinkling at its center. The crowd presses forward, each person eager to take their turn inspecting the star. Hearing raised voices, you turn and see a thin, pale man with receding hair being gently escorted from the room by a policeman. No, it's not right, he shouts, clearly intoxicated. They will come for it. You can't protect it. Courteous but firm, the policeman leads the man away. Come now, Mr. Wait. I think you need to go home and have a lie down. You shouldn't let things upset you so. Turning away, you spot a hulking, hairy man gnashing his teeth in a very controlled fury, but you are distracted as you are jostled cordially by the large-framed Ambrose Checker. Arkham celebrated society columnist. Ha! You made it. His wide smile is infectious, and you watch his sharp eyes darting over the room with a practiced ease as he speaks to you. You spotted that McSweeney is furious then. Him and Robbins. See the weasel-looking fellow over there? Basically did all the work for this exhibit, so I'm told. And that Harpy Bellinger takes all the credit, as if she lifted a single manicured finger. You're the one shifting all these crates in, liaising with the Historical Society, arranging the displays. I think she's also upset the director, Ingram, and a number of other serious scholars by having the details of the sensationalist first story presented as historical fact in the display. As the big man moves away like a galleon under full sail, you consider taking a closer look at the gem if you can get through the crowd. All of a sudden, there's a great crash, and the lights fizzle out across the museum, plunging the gala into inky blackness. There are cries of puzzlement and distress, as rough guttural voices can be heard croaking and barking from outside the huge windows of the exhibit hall. There is a sudden report of a pistol outside and an unearthly howl, followed by the shouts and cries of what sound like the officers. A moment later, the lights blink back on, and the crowd seems to calm down somewhat. The circulating trays of food and drink soothing the nerves. You spot Garrison talking with one of his officers at the doorway and push through the crowd to speak with him. I can only spare a moment. There are intruders trying to gain access to the exhibit hall. They manage to destroy power with what appears to be salt water, but when men fired in their direction, it seemed to have chased them away from them. I've dispatched several officers in search of the surrounding area, but we can't see anything of all this blasted fog. He hurries away, leaving you to wonder just what RMG has gotten into.
So Robin is the other guy, other than Sweeney?
Yeah,
Robbins was the other guy that we
in the
met
museum.
at the museum before.
Robbins was
They
Sweeney.
look suspicious, but they're really pissed off because she's taking credit.
So you're going to Waits?
We have to go to wait time, guys, and I think we should also go to Salters.
Where's Waits?
Wait first.
We just have to wait.
Interesting. The thought for the day of the newspaper
How
is
the flat tire treatments?
even the upper end of the river believes in the ocean.
L48.
Oh, what? What?
You can't recycle.
Yes, you can. So you would recycle with the label on it.
True.
Just gonna give you.
Nah.
Zero
It's just a fucking sentence. The man looks perplexed at your arrival. Are you sure that you're not confusing me with the goldsmith on West Church Street? It happens more than you think.
Really? Are there two weights?
There might be a way to like store, I guess.
His house. Are we mulliganing that? Or
Wait.
Where'd you go?
I went to Waits.
Well, what?
Oh, there's E-Wait, the goldsmith.
Yeah.
But
What-
that's a store.
What number did you go to?
Stupid.
Oh, for you.
You mean you went to M27?
We went to M27.
Oh, look, it's here. Are we mulliganing it?
Sure. This whole thing has a big old asterisk on it.
Like
Well,
a
it's
star.
business.
Yes, it is a asterisk of Tokelau.
Yes,
whatever.
asterisks of
Okay.
Tokelau.
And Minnesota.
You sure you didn't mean the guy that lives
What a dick, right? Okay.
Well, I mean, he was pretty nice
So
for.
what else is he supposed to say?
It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not the person you're looking for. It's me, the person over there. It's kind of nice. It's not mean.
Well, they should both be in the book. Okay. The proprietor. Wow, that's a rough one. The proprietor, a thin, pale man with receding hair, is seated behind the counter at E-Wait Goldsmiths. He is engrossed in weighing out several large old coins. As you wait, you cast your eye over some of the merchandise in glass-topped cases and are quietly impressed with the tasteful, mounds and large selection the old goldsmith has to offer. With a satisfied little noise, the man places the coins in a bag and puts them into a heavy floor safe and closes its door. He seems to notice you for the first time and smiles. Sorry, just sorting out some of the university finds from Professor Robinson's last expedition. She'll be happy that the gold content of those coins is high. I think it fits her theory about trade routes to the Caribbean Islands. Sorry, I'm rambling. How can I be of assistance to you? If you have arrived here on or after the morning of day 4...
It is day 4 morning.
Nice.
We still haven't used 2.
You probably never will.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
no.
is kind of long. 2 requirement cards, man. As a team.
Read it.
Okay. Wait is nervous and twitchy, especially when you explain to him that you are looking into the Star of Tokelau. Yates and I had in mind to acquire some of the more modest items to sell on from the Hollingsworth estate until, that is, we learned of the connection to Innsmouth. I should have guessed that when I saw the name of the lawyer involved. I left that accursed little town more than 18 years ago, and I have no intention of getting back into bed with those moral degenerates, no matter what Yates said. I asked him to get rid of my last mementos of that place. We press him a little harder about the connection between the Star and Innsmouth, and he cracks almost straight away. They came here asking for my help, Kezar and Tribble. Who's Tribble? Bad people.
Keys.
Kezar.
Does that one?
Bad people from my past. The Star is tied to that accursed town with ancient pacts it made in the past. They are after it. It became quite heated. I threw them out of here and told them the Innsmouth connection was broken. Heard they got themselves arrested. Morons.
Bootleggers.
Huh?
Bootleggers.
Yeah. He shakes his head sadly. It's part of my past I'd rather forget. Now, if there's nothing else, I really do have a lot of work to be getting to. I suspect they may be wasting their time, though. He looks a little embarrassed. Before I was asked to leave the gala, I was able to get a closer look at the Star. There is a flaw in one of its faces. It's virtually imperceptible to the untrained, even trained eye, but I saw it. The Star has always been documented as flawless. It doesn't make any sense.
It was replaced.
It's a fraud. Take requirement cards 1 and 9.
Okay, well. Sure.
More requirement cards that we've never seen.
So that's some interesting. So there's 3. The caves next under the boat shop mentioned 3 people. Because it said, you two take care of this, I'll take care of this. And so if we're assuming that that's Tribble and Kezar, then...
There's also keys. Oh, sorry, that's... There's Lieutenant Keys
Lieutenant Keys was the one
Yeah,
that
in the shop.
left very quickly.
Yeah, that left.
Yes.
Which is that could be a thing. I think we should go to the library to possibly.
What's the library?
Maybe where the missing book was.
No, I mean, what number?
Arts building. C-23 is the university library.
Oh, we never went there.
No, we have not. So there's that. You get the weight. There's Tribble.
There's that. There's Tribble. There's Keys.
There's also Salter's house.
And there's Sergeant Salter's house.
We're not doing
Are we?
Man, he's so vicious to sergeants.
Why do we not want to go to
It's not
Salter's
So we
house?
could.
Oh,
And, yeah, it's just like priority, I guess. But
so
yeah,
library or Salter's?
There's library, Salters, Keys, Tribble.
there's a lot, yeah.
What was?
Do we know there's a Tribble in the
Yeah, I got it now.
there's a kid Tribble, there's
I feel
Keys.
like the library, we shouldn't go there unless we have. I don't know. I don't know if the library or the.
It could be nothing, it could be something.
I'll go to. Where's the Tribble?
U-57.
Where is it? U-57, right there on the map.
That's close to...
Keys ours.
Who's number 3? Who's the third person in the group? I wonder?
The lawyer.
The lawyer. Who's the friggin' lawyer? Seriously. Jeremiah what?
Jebediah.
Jebediah what?
Jebediah.
Like,
I don't think he was
Who's
a
this
lawyer. I
lawyer?
think he was just like the person who ran the dogs.
Who's the lawyer then? This lawyer's mentioned twice already. So who's the lawyer? Who is meant? Where is he mentioned? People keep on saying a noun, but they don't keep on saying a name. Who's the lawyer for the Benoit, for the Berkeley Hollingsworth estate?
No one knows.
Probably the third one. You're right.
But I guess I will go to U-57. I feel like that's going to be a waste.
Yeah. Probably.
To
We already
U-57.
know a lot more than we did before.
Where are we going?
U-57. All right, it's not here, so we're not going to U-57.
Okay.
So Salter or library? Screw it. I guess-
Salter or Keys or
Oh.
library. Remember,
Let me
because
make
there's
sure
Keys.
J. Tribble. There's Tribble there.
Yeah.
With B.
T-I-E-A.
U-57.
There's nothing.
All right. All right. So it's Saltzman, Keys.
Salter.
That was one of the ones we listed in the beginning when we were like, that's one we didn't go to, but we should.
Sure,
These are been
fine.
laws
I'll
and-
go to Saltzman.
Salter. D-46.
That's fine.
If there's.
There's
Is there an entry?
I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. It's hard to flip these pages. Wait, what's the number?
D-46.
D-46.
No worries.
You easily find the small apartment overlooking the fog-shrouded river and are not surprised when
It's a big ass house.
your knocks go unanswered. A helpful neighbor, learning of your search, volunteers you the key on the condition he looks over your shoulder as you hunt for clues to make sure your motives are honest. You readily agree and give the place a quick once-over. In Salter's small study, you discover a journal lying on top of a calendar. You flip through the journal's contents. Salter makes several references to his friends Henry and Charles. He talks about Mrs. Bemis, as it seems they are organizing charity events to raise money for the veterans' home together. He alludes to some peculiar jewelry in Yates's that reminded him of that that fateful day back in 1917. The calendar is marked with various charitable events coming up over the next year. Each Saturday is marked, quote, soup, and Saturday, 18th of January, has the word gala with a circle around it.
Man, maybe the size of the houses in first would have been awesome.
Keys is Charles.
That's Charles Keys. So we can figure out the noun of this damn lawyer.
Yes, if you went to his place one of the first 6 days, or first 6 days.
Where are you going?
I'm thinking Lieutenant Keys. I can't really think of anything else.
N58.
N58.
Well, FMUZ.
We already get requirement card 3.
Or 4.
N58.
Shit.
Oh shit.
What?
If you arrived at this location before the evening of day 5,
Yes.
We did!
go to supplemental encounters on page 122 and read entry 13. That's a lot of good shit.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, we still get the same thing though. The house on Northwest High Street is wreathed in fog and the smell of rotting fish. Cthulhu, which seems to follow you wherever you go. Cthulhu, which is particularly repellent here. Cthulhu. If you can before you knock at the door, a straight-backed man in his early 60s opens it and asks you to state your business. When you tell him you're searching for his friends, Colonel Benoit and Sergeant Salter, he invites you inside. It's very unlike them to just up and vanish. John Salter had often talked about moving to the mountains, so I suppose it's a possibility. I'm afraid John has not been well of late, his mind playing tricks on him. We were in an accident at sea back in the Great War. Our ship was lost, and only Henry, John, and I survived and know what really happened. It's taken a lot of time to heal these wounds. I have a terrible phobia of open water to this day. Even crossing the Miskatonic can be difficult for me. Because Cthulhu! We were the veterans, you see, looking after the new recruits after their basic training. I don't think John ever really got over what happened that night in the middle of the Atlantic. All of our boys lost. The man pours himself a stiff drink to settle his nerves. John wrote to me last week, and his tone was one of a man beginning to unravel. So after he went missing, I naturally began to fear the worst. But with Henry missing as well, it makes me suspicious. Perhaps John was correct. Perhaps there are those who would seek to do us harm. We are the last 3 survivors of the Kraken. Perhaps fate, or something, is seeking to address the balance. Well, I'm glad you came. It has helped me to make up my mind. I shall pack a case and spend some time in Topeka. That's a long way from the ocean. Yes, I sincerely hope you find Henry and John, but I have a feeling that something terrible has happened. You bid the war veteran a safe journey and leave him to his packing. If you do not already have it, take requirement card 4. That was actually mentioned once.
Yes, but where? I didn't write it down.
No one did.
I wrote down 8 at U66. Oh, wait, I remember where it was. I'm allowed to look at it because it's part of the errata, but it's not really part of the errata. Oh, it was at L1.
Yeah, it was.
Which was L1? What was L1?
The Historical Society.
I bet that's just going to be background on the story
It's up to Brian, because it's Brian's turn.
I'm going to the library.
Sure.
Okay, where's the library?
C23?
Yes.
I think you.
I'm pretty sure it's.
I just thought it was there. Because it's down the street from the museum. It's a museum.
Is there a C23A written?
No. The C23A isn't visible on the map.
C20.
That's Armitage's library, right?
That's his office.
That's Armitage's library. Yeah,
Okay,
office.
ready?
C23A is Armitage's office. C23 is the library.
There's an entry.
What's funny is like the last one we did was like the cab company. There was an actual question about the cab company.
Oh yeah, that one was so annoying. Did you go talk to the cabbie? Why the fuck would I talk to the
It's here!
Is there an entry?
Amelia Sargent is a librarian at the Orne Library.
Anyway,
There's no entry?
the library is in an unusual state. Is in an unusual state of disarray. Because it's fun. You did not come at a good time, says an exasperated Amelia Sargent. We've lost one of the books from the special collection in your restricted reading room. She waved her hands at the stacks of books around her. Could you imagine the scandal if some student wanted romantic poetry and they pulled down
Yeah.
Really?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
R''YLE.
Riley.
Riley.
Yeah.
Riley Rising. Instead,
Risen.
Rising. Says Riley.
Okay.
I can read that one. Armitage would have me out on my ear. You ask whether the book might have been stolen. That's always the worry with books of this nature. If nothing else, its rarity ensures that it would fetch an enormous amount in private auction. The bottom half of the signing in sheet for all restricted reading room has been damaged. All I could make out was the top of the letter R, or maybe a B, in the surname column. Take it on the list who need to be a university academic or be personally vetted by myself or Armitage. There are maybe 3 dozen people who are allowed access. You leave Amelia to her search. Never mind private auctions. They are much worse hands of books. A book like that could fall into. Take requirement card 6.
Yeah, we're getting all the cards. We're not using them.
That wasn't used. I just don't worry about
Well, you don't have to worry about it because it's Abby's turn to worry about it. You can go to L1, which uses requirement card 4, or you could go to...
Innsmouth.
Yeah, who is the Innsmouth person?
It's
it. I thought that was weird.
Tribble.
That's Yates and Wade.
Oh yeah, there's no Tribble.
And then there's-
There's no Tribble, and there's no Keys.
Oh, there's no keys?
Whatever this person is, we already went to them.
Yeah.
And she needed requirement card 3, right?
No,
No,
it was...
she had a requirement.
We went to U66, that's requirement card 8. That's the only one I wrote down. U66 is requirement card 8. Where's keys?
U66
We never went to keys.
are
You just
now.
think-
We did
Oh,
Keys.
oh, you
We
did.
just
He was the guy that talked to.
He just did keys.
Yeah.
Keys was...
N58. Northwest
Oh
High
yes,
Street.
I wrote that down.
Yeah, he's the one who went to. He's going to go to Topeka or something. Yeah.
Oh
so,
yeah.
So we've tracked down the missing. We tracked down the 3 survivors of the Kraken. But there's the Innsmouth connection, which is what's her name? That's clearly not human. Then there's person who's not there, which is Tribble, and there's lawyer.
Probably.
It's probably lawyer.
You've never gone to the hospital.
Or the unvisited isle.
We have not gone to
doesn't
the
have
visited
to
isle,
be.
but it's still a possibility.
Why would we go to the hospital?
Where else would you
EW.
go?
Huh?
EW, we don't know who EW is.
Okay, so let's just go to St. Mary's.
So,
I thought that was East Washington Street or something like
No.
What's the number for St. Mary's Hospital?
like,
What?
Is it-
1-800.
Toll numbers then.
C.
Meaty. Yeah, it's a meaty section.
No, C-17.
No, there's, yeah.
See what? Heading for the hospital, you hope to learn something from Dr. Sutton, whom you find in his office. He frowns as he peers at you. I've come to associate your business with wholesale slaughter, he says, as you explain you are looking into the disappearance of Arkham residents. I've had no one brought into the morgue for the last couple of days, and the only admission I have down is Mrs. Pennock, booked in for a routine procedure. Not particularly helpful for your investigation, I'm afraid.
They're EW. How many
Is that
EWs
it?
are in town?
EW? The Goldsmith was in the
So I guess I'll go to L1.
What was his first one? E-Wait? Okay, so we kind of know who EW is then.
Maybe.
Maybe know who EW is.
Yeah, that's why I said.
Unless the people have objections to going to Historical Society
There's
L1
also a Welsh one.
to use one of our
There's at least 3
requirement cards.
What is the historical society?
L1.
There's a lot of EWs.
Any objections?
No.
Non-passionate. No passionate objections.
There's a lot of EWs.
Okay, well, I guess we can't just process elimination then.
Okay, it's good.
Alright, you cite... there's a lot to
We have
read.
requirement.
Yeah, just do the requirement card.
Star change.
Which is
Alright. If you have a requirement card, page 1, read entry 4.
You do?
Yes. Alright. You're about to leave the Historical Society when a painting catches your eye. It depicts storm-lashed seas and a ship listing and floundering as it goes down with all hands. The plaque underneath reads Cthulhu. Not really. No, sorry.
So
The plaque reads
happy.
The Loss of the Kraken, 1917. You call Dorothy Davis over and ask her if she knows anything about the ship. Why, yes, certainly. That picture was actually painted by one of only 3 survivors of the disaster, part of his therapy, I believe. In late 1917, the troop transport HMS Kraken was carrying our brave Miskatonic volunteers across to Europe to fight more. It ran into problems and was lost in the mid-Atlantic. Official reports say it was possibly a German U-boat attack, but none of the survivors can verify that, and none of them heard a torpedo explosion. You thank Dorothy, and note that the artist's signature, which appears to be that of Lieutenant Keyes. That was kind of
I mean,
Yeah.
we knew it was just
yeah.
It's
So,
a background.
16. Where are you going?
We also don't need to go all the way.
Yeah, we can quit if we think we're.
Because it's eventually going to be minus points.
Yeah. I mean, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have any places we want to go?
Use those requests.
I mean, I never heard of 9
Or 1. Or 2.
or 6.
I might have sons. At one point, I read one that just says blah, blah, blah. I think that might have been 6. I don't remember what that was though.
Mm-hmm. What say you, Brett?
What do you call it?
I'm half tempted to, because I really can't think of any other leads at the moment, except for this lawyer, and I just can't figure out how to make this happen.
Is there a law office?
Oh,
There's a few,
Too many.
but we don't have like a letter, right? Like there's nothing that anyone can remember that's based that they've really ever connected to.
I feel like the lawyer is a red herring.
No, I think the lawyer is the third member of the Angel Connection in this city.
It's Kezar. Kezar Triple
There's a third
Bellinger.
one.
I don't think she's hard. She's just something.
She's just a horrible person.
I mean, I think
Just call it.
going to the question is fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the questions.
All right, there are 9 questions.
We'll answer 7.
Question number 1. Who is the... we're good, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Who is the final victim scheduled to be kidnapped by the Inmouth Connection?
What? How would you get that?
We're awful.
Keys!
That's
It's
it.
Keys!
Keys.
Lieutenant Keys.
Yes, we know that.
Sure.
It is Keys.
2. Why do we say it's Keys?
Because it is
Because
Keys.
he's the only one that's still
Because the
around.
other 2 are gone.
Yeah.
What is the name of the ship sunk in
Kraken.
1917?
Cthulhu Killer.
Cthulhu Killer. No, yeah, they killed Cthulhu. Well, Cthulhu Sleeper. So it's more like a Cthulhu ibuprofen.
Pacifier?
NyQuil? Cthulhu NyQuil?
What do the Innsmouth Connection hope to use the Star of Tokelau for?
To resurrect.
To help with Innsmouth's thing. Or was that
Resurrect.
The deep ones?
To bring back ocean creature things.
To awaken Cthulhu.
to help Riley
To be
rise.
specific, yes.
Awaken Cthulhu, yeah.
Awaken the deep ocean.
Deep
Just
ones?
Cthulhu.
We never said.
Cthulhu. Answer. Cthulhu.
Well,
Answer Cthulhu.
I can answer all these Cthulhu.
4. Who is the leader of the Innsmouth Connection?
The
in
lawyer.
Arkham? Well, I don't think they're going to accept lawyer.
So we didn't think it was
We don't think it's Kezar?
It's not Keys.
No.
So there's Tribble.
Maybe Tribble's the lawyer.
Is there a law firm with Tribble? Is there a law firm with Tribble?
It's too late. Where is the real Star of Tokelau?
Not in the museum.
Shoot.
I feel like we're going to lose this one
In
again.
Keesian's house.
Do we have an answer?
I don't think we have answers for 4 or 5.
Yeah. 6. What is the curse of the Star of Tokelau?
Suicide?
Yeah, it was putting people in the financial ruin, and then they die.
Yeah.
So that's like bankruptcy.
Sure.
So it sounds like Bellinger.
Oh, so Bellinger probably has the risk. Bellinger might have the risk.
Oh,
Shit, put it down. Might as well.
5. Bellinger.
I mean, I'm just guessing at the whole big.
Because she would be the easiest person to steal it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like something she would have stolen.
Why is museum curator Amanda Bellinger acting suspiciously?
Because
Well-
she is bankrupt.
So maybe it isn't her, but
Bankruptcy.
yeah. Bankrupt needs money.
8. Which reference book was stolen from the library?
Riley Rising.
Last 9. Why is ancient William Weedham really in Arkham?
Ancient William
Agent.
William why? Well, it's because his dad's dead. His dad was killed and was given a letter.
And there is a bonus question.
Sure.
Was the kidnapping and murdering of Lieutenant Charles Keyes prevented?
Yes.
With,
We don't know. I'm going to say yes.
is it, sure.
All right, we ready for these?
We are so fucked.
Okay, here we go.
All right, the final victim is Keyes. We get 4 points. The name of the abandoned... What?
What?
Oh. They put the name of the abandoned... Errata. Yes, Kraken is correct.
Cool.
2
What
points.
did they want?
So it says, what is the... It changes the question. What is the name of the abandoned schooner in the Miskatonic Estuary?
Estuary.
They probably just changed.
Yeah. All right, 3. It has an asterisk by it. I don't know why it does. What do the Innsmouth Connection hope to use the star for? They plan to use the star as a part of a ritual to open a gateway to Relay.
We got that.
Yeah.
To resurrect, to bring forth.
I mean, it's not really a gateway. Cthulhu is just sleeping in the water. Say half.
Sure.
The total is 4 points, so I was just going to
Yeah,
say 2. Who is the leader of the Innsmouth Connection?
Yeah.
James Robbins.
Robbins! We
Isn't
never checked out the Robbins from the exhibit because we were distracted by McSweeney.
That was 4 points. Where is the real star of Tokelau?
You said Ballinger.
Nope, it was Mary Keyser's home. In the locked safe.
Okay.
That was 4 points.
If we had the right part.
What is the curse of the Star of Tokelau? Drive its owners to insanity, depression, financial ruin, and suicide.
We got like half
No,
of that.
we read all that one.
Yeah,
We
read
got
that.
It says 3 points, 1 point for each correct.
Yeah.
We got 2. We got
Say 3.
For each part correct.
Say 3.
I feel like it's more like 2.
Like-
I gave it.
I don't think the
I agree
suicide.
with 2.
Oh, we definitely
We-
said
we
suicide.
just
We
said
said
suicide.
suicide. We said suicide of financial ruin. That's 2.
Yeah,
Why
you're
was
crazy finance.
Bellinger suspicious? She is broke and attempting to pawn artifacts of debt.
Yep.
So that's 2 points. Alright, 8. Which book was risen? Yeah, that was only 1 point. You got that right. Weedham. He is investigating a mysterious letter found in his deceased mother's effects.
Close enough.
That's 2 points. Bonus. If you reach location N58, did we even go to
He was
N58?
in the guy's place, or is that?
We never went to N58.
Yes, we did. We went to Key's house.
Yeah, it's Keys' house.
Oh, we went the second
We
time.
talked to him before.
Before evening day 5.
Yeah.
Because we went to the supplemental.
We went to
Lieutenant
supplemental.
Keyes successfully escaped the Innsmouth Connection. You take no insanity penalties for this investigation. If you did not... Blah, 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 blah. Alright, so that... Insanity penalty. Deduct 1 point if you saw the deep ones flopping around on the docks.
Thank God, no.
Deduct 1 point if you saw the Innsmouth Gold in Yates Jewelry Store. Deduct 1
Yeah.
But we don't suffer that. You
We
take
don't
no
suffer
sanity
any.
for this investigation.
Nice.
Deduct 1 point if you learned about Kizar's fate.
Okay, we didn't.
So our total 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. What?
Minus how many? For
Locations. Count the number of locations you traveled to that contained a written encounter. Deduct 1 point for every location you went to beyond 10. So that's -5, which is 10.
fuck.
Armitage would have solved this case and been able to answer
It
most questions if he visited the 10 locations on the following page.
You.
Well, we would have been
So
like.
our score is 11.
We would have had a 0.
10 or 11.
We would have been in the negatives. If we
Doesn't matter. So it's 14 plus points, fewer than 14, or above 22 points.
I want to know where he's talking about. Is that's
All right.
Let's hear it.
So Armitage realizes you're still an amateur, and he offers you a bit of help on your next case. When you play your next case, you may start that case with requirement card 1 already
Were we
collected.
supposed to start with a requirement
Yeah,
card from
Like, that's the
the-
thing. Aren't there things...
Yeah,
this
No,
is
that last
losing-
one. That last one was pretty BS.
So it didn't give you anything for losing that?
No. Read supplement entry 5.
Okay.
And then the last case, like, Armitage is not at home, and he schedules, like, I had to step out, attend a sick relative, but I wanted to tell you something I'm unable to tell you face to face. If anything else you need, please never forget it. It was pointless.
Okay. Well, we'll start with supplement 1.
Requirement card 1 next time. Great.
Thanks. We'll probably do that.
Note, if you reach location by the morning of day 6, read solution B, otherwise read solution A. So read solution A, correct?
Yeah.
Sure.
That was keys.
Oh, yeah. Keys live. Yes.
So we read A, not B.
We read the one that we made before.
Okay. Wait.
Can you read it? Just read it.
If you reach location at N58 by the morning of day 6, read solution B.
Oh, so
Yeah.
B.
Yes, read B. We went there before that day.
Yeah.
Alright. Returning through the fog to Armitage's office, you arrive to find the head librarian in an ebullient mood.
What's happening?
Okay. No,
that's another word.
Ebullient mood. You'll be pleased to know that I've just waved Lieutenant Keyes off at the train station. It seems as though between us we convinced him to depart just in the nick of time. I'm happy with the way it finished in the end. The connection foiled, the star safe. Did you start at the town hall or did you go straight to the veterans' home?
Okay.
Myself, I went to talk with Nicholas Saltonstall and found out about the fate of the HMS Kraken back in 1917. I had fancied for a moment that those creatures that had been spotted by people at night down at the docks may indeed have been Benoit and Salter, driven mad, with some hideous change overcoming them. That was until I went to Henry Benoit's house and my suspicion changed tack. He finally stops his relentless pacing and sits down in his chair beside the fire. He leans closer to you, his voice low and even. The 3 men, Salter, Benoit, and Keyes, were indeed innocents. They were the only survivors of their ship that was dragged under the waves by... Well, I don't want to think about that. They were picked out not only because they had no one really to miss them, but because they had escaped from the Kraken in 1917. Garrison put me on the right track with the Innsmouth connection, a gang of ruthless cutthroats. Kezar, Tribble, and Robbins, hiding in plain sight at the museum, took them and sacrificed them. At least we can comfort ourselves knowing that they will have a nasty surprise waiting for them if they do eventually try to steal the emerald and use it for their foul ceremony. The warrior's blood will not be enough to raise Relay. Not without the star. Professor Armitage pulls a map from a scroll case on his desk and unrolls a naval chart, jabbing his finger to emphasize his points. I was able to track Robbins from the neat typewriter notes he had left in various places. He must have thought that he was concealing his identity by not revealing his handwriting. Corbet helped... Corbet? Who is...
Who's Corbet? Who's Salt?
That might be trouble.
Corbet helped me see that a typewriter has a unique
Corbet's the
print.
guy that's the tech for the cop. For the police.
Oh.
As handwriting analysis. Once I checked with the machine in his home, I was sure, and his link with the museum drew back around to the star. The star had come from a cursed Innsmouth, brought to America by Captain Mythos Tales. It had changed hands many times in the last few generations, spreading insanity, depression, financial loss, and suicide in most of the homes it found itself in. Clearly, the emerald is cursed. That much the advertiser got right. That the stone came into Hollingsworth's possession in 1917 is no coincidence. He managed to keep it from the connection all this time. He found out somehow that the stone can be used in a ritual, combined with the sacrifice of warriors to raise Bradley from the Stygian depths. Old man Keezer must have realized as well, but to have a forgery of such precision crafted was an inspirational move. All that matters is that it is safe now. Poor Mary Keezer will take the real star of Tokelau with her, quite literally to the grave. No curse will ever be as bad as a horrific heritage lurking in her blood.
Yep.
With her brave choice, though, she is able to save us all. He sits back and steeples his fingers. I wonder, what was the occasion that allowed Hollingsworth to come by the star in 1917? Perhaps an investigation for another day, eh? I think we deserve a rest. So,
7 years rest.
he went to D23 Staltenstall. Nicholas Staltenstall.
Who's that?
Who is that?
Is that one of like the guy? Is that one of the?
D23? D21?
No.
This is Nicholas Stoltenstall is at D21, Arkham Town Hall.
Okay, so you're at the town hall.
But why would you...
Just good.
There's like nothing in the prompt that would make me think that you would want to go to Town Hall.
He's done this, I think, once before in a previous case, where he just went to the town hall. Apparently, we never go to the town hall.
Well, I mean, I guess it's gala and a bunch of drama. I mean,
Missing people. So, okay, so you went there, then you went to town hall.
D20. Wait, what?
I guess we should be using this allies page a lot more frequently.
Well,
I mean, I think that
I don't-
notice all the allies
it's
we went
D21.
to.
It's
Yeah.
D21 is something.
Didn't work.
Oh, that gives you a karma card 4. We went to there, didn't we?
No,
No, we never went to the Town Hall.
D21.
Yeah. All right, and then he went to the soup morning, the Onid soup, Annans. Then he went to Benoit's house. Then he went to the University Museum, the Garrison, McDermott, the Saber. See requirement 7. What the? The Saber was like the answer to the question 2 that was wrong. Then he went to the River Cave.
We went to the river.
Accessed by Marley's boat at R5.
Yeah, we did that.
Mary Keezer's home and Ottoman bookstore. So we didn't go to the bookstore. Yeah. The next one is The Vanished Girl.
7 years later.
Yep.
So it's interesting. The previous case, that paper mentions actually the creatures that were by the river that he just mentioned.
You're allowed to look at previous newspapers.
I know. That's why I always read the previous ones whenever.
So we failed that one quite horribly.
Also, that explains why Keezer was acting so weird, because I thought it was kind of suspicious. She was like, "Are you with the Innsmouth connection?" And everyone else was saying, "Yeah, she's part of it." I was wondering why she was so scared of her connection.
She was insane.
No, I think she had decided by that point to keep it to her, with her to her grave.
Yeah.
So she was hiding out from everyone.
No, this is awful.
That was a clusterfuck.
I don't even know how we would have been able to like do it better.
We wouldn't have.
The second time was the best we were going to do. And that's a sad fact.
Yeah, we cheated and we still lost.
We cheated. We did so many mulligans.
Oh, wait, keys are required. What requirement?
That was 8. Requirement 8.
For U66?
And we had to. What did he go to before going to her house?
Before UC6, we went to L1.
No, what did he go to? Because theoretically, he's the ideal one, right? So he'd pick up requirement card 8, right?
But we didn't. Am I in the right? I'm not in the right one. Oh, wait, what am I looking up?
U66 first.
You go to supplement 8.
It was supplement.
Oh, well, requirement card was.
But then you need 8. You need requirement card 8, and then when you go there, you need requirement card 9.
Which we had.
You go to 9.
So you had to find 8.
And then I don't know.
Yeah. And you also found out that Robin stuff, which we never.
Yeah, we kept
that
on.
Was the person.
I kept on getting confused because I thought the Robin was McSweeney.
No, there's 2, but I just thought Rob